1 minute rest. Then you bring it up to a minute. Right? So you bring it up to a minute. But inside those, sometimes you're going to slow that tempo down. And you're gonna just add little bursts in there. And you're going to find your breath. But how many of you guys know people that are, so you bring it up to hold on. Inside those, sometimes you go ahead. Go ahead.
You were hearing yourself talking over yourself when the sound came on.
I think you're on Facebook feed coming back to you delayed.
Yeah, I think we fixed it. So here.
No, we got it.
Sure.
Yeah. I hit it on it.
Okay. Can you guys hear me well or not?
Yeah, just fine.
Okay. So inside there, what you want to do is we're trying to learn how to control the tempo of a fight, where to find our breath. This is really, when we get into movement and breaking down somebody, this gets into that space of, if I can pull that energy out of them, make them breathe hard, then I can take advantage of them. Right? You can go as far as you break them down really hard because you're so much used to so much more energy. Anytime somebody has to catch up to you, they're expending a lot of energy because they're being reactive. If you have somebody reactive, in other words, you're a beat ahead of them, then you're controlling it. So it's a lot like a person running. We're out running in a marathon or whatever, and this is just a straight jog, right? Or, marathon. So I'm running, and I know the guy next to me is going to be a tough competitor. He's going to stay with me. So I pick up my beat. Now, I know I'm picking up my beat. I know my heart rate is going to go up. So I pick up that heart rate. He's like, hey, this guy's pulling out ahead of me. I'm going to pick up my heart rate and keep up with him. So now he's keeping that heart rate, and then I know I'm like, okay, now I'm going to slow it down again. Now, he may pass me for a sec, but then he's going to go, whoa, I've been keeping my heartbeat going way too fast for too long. So he's going to start slowing down, but then I can pick it back up again. And if he has to pick it back up again, what happens is he has less time to rest, less time to bring his heart rate back down. So you're still actually in control of him. Right. And that's what movement can do in a fight. So we have to think outside of, hey, I got 1 minute to finish this fight. Luke Allen quoted a great one. There is no shot clock in the SCA. Okay? Right. And I know we all want action fights and all this other stuff because it's fun. But there's also that level of, if you're really in competition, then you have to present your best. So, my best is I break people down physically and then mentally. And then I execute on their weaknesses in as safe a place as I can. And that's, I've had, me and Luke had a 45-minute road fight once. Actually, it was 45 minutes heroic at Penton. And believe me, 20 minutes into that fight, we were throwing some blows here and there, but there's a lot of work. We're pouring sweat, but there's not engagement after engagement, constant throwing for 45 minutes. Working the fight to try to make sure that pressing and feeling and figuring out, it's the same thing boxers do in the first 3 rounds of a fight. And then we do some passes, and then we got to make that change. It's like, oh, that's not going to work. I can see different weaknesses. I got to change what I thought I had to do. And then you change your game plan and you work for it. But so, that's a fight. We don't think about that in the SCA much. We think, I'm going to get in front of the guy. We're going to engage. We're going to throw. That's my fight. That's round 1 of a fight. You guys have to think about a fight being everything from building your shot. In other words, building your motion, figuring out your opponent, knowing exact range, figuring out his weaknesses, her weaknesses, push the 4 corners of your opponent, see where they block, where they move naturally, and then take advantage of something. You can't do that in the first 30 seconds. But way too many people try. They like, this is my bread and butter shot. I'm going to throw it. Well, if the guy's just sitting there and that bread and butter doesn't work, he may be waiting for you to throw it. You know, so those are the kinds of things you have to think about, and feet just part of that. Now, this is a new tool, a new technique that allows you to build that fight better, right? It also allows you, if somebody else has better feet, it allows you to actually maneuver and feel comfortable in your movement. You're not going to be trapped on your feet any longer, right? Lots of times, you know, we were just talking about this. We get trapped on our feet. In other words, we didn't know how we moved. We didn't know what a drop step was. We didn't know that your center controls your body, right? Wherever you want to go. That smoothness becomes huge. So, all right, that's about 10 minutes in. Looks like we got a bunch of folks here. I'll pull up a complete list in a second, but we know our first ones that we're going to follow through is let's get some warm up in again. So we're going to just do flat foot squats, right? Same thing. And if there's people here that haven't been here before, the idea is to keep your feet, heel and toe and ball of the foot flat on the ground, and just go down and then back up. Just go down to where you can. If you have bad knees, you may not be able to go down this far. If you haven't been doing this a lot, you may only be able to go down that far. Just push yourself to that edge where you're kind of working out. Because each week you do this, you get stronger at it, right? I would hope by now, and you guys can tell me, that a lot of people who may have had trouble with these to begin with are probably doing them a lot easier now. People agree on that? Awesome. So let's get about 10, 15 of these in. We're building about the simplest core work you can do right here. I sure hope that's my knee squeaking and not my knee, my knee cup squeaking and not my knee. All right. So as you get better and better at those, I want you guys to try to keep your back straighter and straighter while you do those. And again, be careful of your knees. Bridget, you look great over there. You're really getting down into them. This is good. The good part is there's a couple different squats we can do at this point. We can do where you literally, if you get good enough at these, you can do it where you literally drop below your, below your actually flat knee mark. My legs are actually more bent. Let me see if I'll shoot to the foot cam here, if I can. Let me find my foot cam. And I'll show you as you get better and better at these. Switch over to the foot cam. Oh, I had to do that. So at first, if this is all you got, do it, right? And then we slowly build. So a good squat is essentially flat leg. Okay? That's where we really want to get to. There's this variation of that squat that pushes it a little farther, where your legs actually go even into a bigger spine position, where your legs are actually way down here. Okay? So don't be afraid. If you can do that and your knees support it, go ahead and drop into those. All right, so our next ones, and watch my feet here. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to press up all the way up on those toes until you can feel those toes engaging the ground and balancing you. Okay, and we're lifting up, and then we're going to go down. Heels can be off the ground, but we're going to keep our back perfectly straight. See my back? Perfectly straight. And then all the way up again. Really, at this point, my heels are off the ground, but now I'm pushing all the way up. Get those toes nice and strong. And get that balance starting to move. And then back down. And back up. Most of this is done on the ball of the foot. Really stretch those up. Okay? The reason why we stretch these up is because what we're trying to do is we're trying to engage in understanding balance across your whole foot. So we're adding another layer of balance to your foot. Most people, balance comes in their heels, in their balls of their feet, and on the sides of their feet. The idea on toes is literally to learn that those toes can also provide a ton of balance. Later on, you'll feel more pressure on your toes than the ball of your foot once they get nice and strong. Where this really helps is when I'm out here, if I go just on the ball of my foot, this is about as far as I go forward. But then if I go shift onto my toes, I can go that much more farther. So you can see there's a difference. That difference right there is a huge difference in range to an opponent. 2 or 3 inches at that level could make or change a game. So we got to push that. Okay, that's why we're going to gain strength and balance in those toes. All right. So everybody get their 10 or 15 of those. I'm just going to get a couple more because I tend to talk more than do right now. Here we go. And don't worry if you trip, you fall. I mean, I still do. And I've been doing this kind of stuff my whole time. There we go. All right. So the next part, we're going to get in whatever stance. I don't care if it's funny foot forward. I don't care what stance you're in. You're going to get in your stance. And you're going to pretend there's a person in front of you. You're going to shift all the way forward. First onto the ball of the foot, and then right over that toe. Now, here's what I want to make sure. I'm going to show you my knee straight on. When you shift, do not shift your knee out over outside of your foot. That weakens the knee and can cause harm to your knee. Make sure that knee is over. You notice my knee, it's kind of hard. Let's see here. Let's get it. There we go. My knee is over the inside of my foot. If I drop a little pendulum, it's going to come like right to the pointy part of my foot on my big toe. So try to stay right in there. And then we're going to shift as far forward as you can. All my force right now is in my big toe and it hurts like hell. So here we go. And then we're going to shift all the way back. So this is what we're going to look like. Is we got forward and then all the way back. I don't even care. You can actually lift your foot off the ground. Now as you shift, look at my head doesn't change height. Right? I don't want my head to change height, and I don't want this. I don't want to shift like my shoulders. Now, this isn't vertical to the ground, and I'm falling forward. All my weight's forward. This is not good. Want it nice and tight. The hips actually change. Here it comes here. Look, my hips start going back a little, but my belt is always pretty flat. I'm going to show you. This is really, really important. Again, you can cheat this later, but right now you want to do it well. Here I am. Look at that. Nice and flat to the ground. And then back. Nice and flat to the ground. If I do not move my hip, you'll see that now it's not nice and flat to the ground and I'm falling forward. Same thing goes. If I tilt back as I go backwards, I am not nice and flat to the ground, so now it changes the angles of my shot. So we really want to keep that.
Or if you stay tilted forward and like stick your butt out when you go backwards, it'll tilt down.
Right, and like Si just said, if as I'm going back and I tilt down and my butt goes up, you notice that points to the ground, so does my chest. Okay, so we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So again, do 10 of those and switch and do it the other way, both feet. Okay, because we're learning to throw and do switch foot and throw from either or. So we should be doing and stretching both of these feet out. Ooh, I'm not good on that other one though, I can tell. Side's falling into me, so I can tell she isn't either.
I hadn't even switched feet yet. I'm still on the good foot.
When you're really good on that front foot, you could actually lift your back foot. I can't do it on this one, I can do it on this one easy. Right, so I get way up here, and then I'll just lift this foot. Then I'll come back. But you don't need to. It's just you'll know your balance is good once you get to that point. So it's obvious to me I need to do these funny foot a little bit more. Because that is weak. And again, we're trying to find our weaknesses, right? You may say, I'll never fight funny foot forward. I can guarantee you're probably wrong.
That's what you think.
So, you know, the trick is we need to have good balanced body. You could be walking backwards and your feet could be in the wrong position. And you have to do something to go from your feet. So the stronger we are at understanding everything, both right and left, the stronger we are as a fighter. All right, we got a good bunch of warm up in there. I see Magrat's in there. Hey, Magrat, I thought you were supposed to be outside. I see Libby's room, but she still must be stretching. Cord, it's
I
good to
couldn't
see.
go outside.
Ah, gotcha. Bridget's just crushing it
Stupid
as you.
technology.
I get ya. Yeah, I know that makes it hard. Oh, look at that. Fox has somebody out in the yard. Not quite sure who.
I don't know. What?
But we got a bunch of great folks. I see Ethel stands and how do you say it? Kensa? What?
It's Kissinia.
Kissinia. All right. So give me some time to get there. Kissinia. I'll try. But all right. It's good to have you guys. Okay. So everybody pretty good? You guys ready to I can see who he has over there. He has Hawk over his place. Awesome. So let's go ahead. We're gonna start into the ladder work. So Side, take it over.
All right, I have changed up the order a little bit. I apologize to everyone who's been here before. We're not all the same ones. I have just reordered them to try and make a slightly more logical flow through them. So we'll see how it goes. So we're gonna start with the same one, our nice warm up 2-foot run. So pick a foot, I go left, right, just all the way down. And then use your other foot to go the other way. Don't crash into your garage door.
And go ahead and do it again if you got the time or you got a short ladder. Rotate through people.
Try doing it backwards.
And you can actually also, as she says, let's go ahead and do that backwards as well.
A lot harder backwards.
So backwards, just remember, you're literally falling in. Almost like when you're going backwards, you're just almost like your butt. You're sitting into an empty, where a chair is supposed to be. And little steps catch you. Okay?
Resist the urge to lean forward.
Exactly. Remember, again, you guys are going to hear me say stacked. Stacked is used in dance and a lot of other sports. The idea of stacked is keeping that body really vertical to the ground, right? Up and down. You can see that's nice and straight. So, and that's all control.
The heavy parts of the body, your hips, your torso, all these things that you can misalign because spine, it bends. We want them in a straight line, stacked, so they stay balanced.
Right.
And then you just take that whole stack and move it around.
If you're finding yourself having a hard time with that, lots of that stacked position comes from your hip position. So you can see her hip goes, if she tilts her hip back, you can see kind of get what we call duck butt. And you tilt it forward.
Your head's blocking it.
Oh, sorry. You tilt it forward, and then she has a really nice stacked spine all the way down. All right? So a lot of that comes from your hip. All right, next one.
All right, next, we're going to do another warm-uppy one that we're moving from the end. We're going to do hopscotch. So hop to the outside and in, out, in. Both feet together.
You've been doing this for a while. You shouldn't have to look down. Keep your hands up in the air. Let's do it backwards.
We don't necessarily get the boxes perfect going backwards because we're not looking. But
Nice. Looks like Blue's in all armor today. He's pushing himself. Angie, way to go. You're looking better. Now try to make sure when you're doing these that you're not jumping up and down. In other words, that your head is not going up and down. How wrong Balder looks at that is if you look at a spot across the room, you'll see that spot bouncing if you're bouncing up and down. Bend those knees. And as you shoot out, you kind of have to bend them a little bit more when they come in so that you're not changing head height. So that's the subtlety to work on, because that fun, and Bridget, you're doing a great job, by the way. That's what you're going to use in a fight. If your head moves up and down, it's very easy to see, and your opponent will do something. Could be just move out of range, and that's not what we want them to do. So we always try to stay perfectly balanced, so it's very difficult for them to see. I'm going to show this a little bit later. All right, next one. Actually, hold on. Let me see how everybody's doing. Everybody about done? I see Angie's wrapping it up. Good. Good, we're done.
Thumbs up.
Seeing a lot of thumbs up. I see we got Germanicus back with us. Awesome. Good. Way to push yourself, guys. Doc, good to see you. All right, looks like everybody's having a good time with that. All right. Avantgarde, go ahead and you can go ahead and catch up. All right, let's go ahead. Next one.
All right, we're now going to work our way into our many, many versions of the drop step, starting with the most basic. So I'm going to start with 1 foot in, 1 foot out. This is our basic skier with a drop gather step. So I'm going to take that whole stacked body, shift, and drop open, gather together into that next box, and then do the other side. So this is all just very, very basic drop step. It's like I'm showing the super slow version. He's speeding it up a little.
Do it again. And you can see her head stays nice and flat, and she's just gliding through these. So for anybody who's having any difficulty with these, a lot of times I use my guns, my fingers, and I'll point 45 degrees outside my foot, and then I'll kind of let my foot rise and fall into that angle. And then your other foot just comes back. So, all right, we're going to do it backwards.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm going to say, if you're still trying to figure out the whole drop step thing, over-exaggerate it. Let
Yes.
yourself get way over and then drop. Whereas we're doing it a lot earlier. Like, go ahead and just shift until you can't anymore, and you will find that drop feeling.
Blue, that's really good. All right, Bridget, I'm going to push you a little harder because you're doing everything so well. I want you to literally hold your feet as long as you can in where they are until you have to step forward. All right? I want to see it. Because your head movement and stuff is great, so hold it as long as you can. Then, yes, that's it. Now you're falling into them. You see the difference? Yeah, now you're just like bursting into that spot.
And go ahead and try it backwards if you can.
Good, Angie. That's the way. Your backs look pretty good. Later on, we're going to get bigger and bigger with those. Let's see, Fox. Oh, okay, yep. Have him hold those feet. He's reaching out first. You're kind of on and off, Fox, so just to let you know. All right, we're watching Bess for a second. I'm going to make sure she's doing it right. There you go. That's it. Lean, and then, yep, and just let that foot follow. So when I say lean, what we're going to do, and Bridget, you did this great, when we get into, you're reaching a little bit, that's better, Blue. So Blue, you're reaching with your right hand, but your left hand is good. So don't let your foot lead you. Hold that foot until you feel like you're falling. There you go, good. All right, Bess, I want to see you do it once more. I'm just trying to make sure everybody's doing these right, because that idea of holding your feet into that location until you fall into the next one is the big bursting part of fighting.
Usually I use the duct tape on the floor in there, but we're
awesome. This is the basis of literally everything else we do.
Let's see, Hawk, I want to see you do it. Remember, hold your feet. Don't reach out. I keep losing. Oh, okay, gotcha. So, Hawk, I want you to hold your foot in the box. Have Hawk hold that foot in the box. You see how he's stepping first and then reaching? So have him hold that foot in the box and lean his body over.
What do you say? So hold the foot in the box and then push your body over.
Until you fall.
Yeah, all your weight should be on that foot
Yes.
at the moment you pick it up.
That's the way, Fox. Good. Much better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that last second fall. That's staying in.
Zivert, very good. Make sure you guys are doing these backwards now too. Bridget, you're doing so much better now. You're falling right into those. That's how you're doing there. Looks like you're doing the shuffle foot now. Are you doing the shuffle foot on purpose?
No, I'm having a hard time going backwards.
Okay. So again, think about that first step going backwards. Hold the foot in the box, right? And point your finger in the back corner where your foot's going to go, and then start shifting that way, and fall into it. But let the foot fall, and then the other foot gather. So right again, and yeah, don't take that front foot off. You see how you're shifting with the wrong foot first. So try it again, Bess. So the foot in the box is the one that you're going to lift. Yes. Lift it and go and fall sideways. Do it sideways. Yes, that's it right there. Sideways again. There, that's good. That's it. Sideways the other way.
So what's weird for me is that
Do it again. That's a shuffle. That's a shuffle.
if I just pick that foot up the ball on it.
So what you're doing, okay, guys, I'm going to show picture me on the foot cam.
Reach.
Hold on, I just want to make sure because a few people are having trouble with this. So here, if you have a hard time doing this forward or backwards, it's because we're adding another layer of movement. So as I shift this foot, you notice this one, what I see a lot of people is they shift all their balance onto this foot. You're not shifting all that balance. So I see shifting and then this foot becomes even and then they do this. That's a shuffle. So here we are. I start shifting this way. You notice my hip starts getting this way, and then I fall in. So here we are. Hip. I lift my foot and I just fall. And all you have to do is practice this. Fall.
It's like you're
Shift to
picking
balance.
up
Fall.
the foot that has the weight on it, which feels weird, but it's how the drop step works.
So you're gonna shift, fall, and gather.
Over this way.
Fall and gather. Shift over this way, fall and gather. Shift over this way, fall and gather. All right. So the idea there is it's kind of weird because you're literally lifting the foot that you're shifting onto, but that's what creates the drop step. Most of you are doing this right. I'm just trying to make sure everybody understands. Better, Bess. That's the way. And then we add the exercise. I'm shifting here. I'm dropping into my 45. I'm dropping my butt right into the chair.
Right.
Shifting to the other one. Dropping right into the chair. Okay? Blue, make sure you look like you look good. Just make sure that pelvic it's tilted under you. Okay? Make sure you don't have duck butt going.
Oh, okay.
I want that. I want the angle so bad.
All right. Awesome. And see, we got Seto adding. Very good. Abelard, you're looking good on those. You're literally skipping through them. Okay, Bess, I'm watching you. You better do it right. Better, Bess. I'm happy to see you got it now. So this is the reason why we do these things, so that we understand our bodies better. All right? And that's the best part. I love when people have a hard time because then we can get detailed on it and help everybody. So don't be afraid to say, I don't get it. All right? Because it does help everybody. And we're all here to help each other. All right? All right, we're going to do the next one.
So the next one is very similar, but now we're going to try and get more distance out of it. So we're going to start that same falling motion to the side I'm starting outside the ladder this time. And I'm going to push with that back foot a little bit at the last second while I'm picking up the other one to get more distance out of it. You also get lower, helps you get more distance going to falls.
Right, so we're going to add more burst by being a little bit tighter lower in our legs. And if you look, her feet are landing on either side of the ladder now. So if it's your first time doing it, try to get half the ladder. If you've been here this whole time, I would almost expect you to be on the far side of those lines. All right?
And you'll
A little
know.
drop step, not a shuffle step.
No, it says it's still a drop.
Still a drop.
How'd it feel? It
Yeah,
feels.
you'll note if you get real low, you don't even have to push very much. You can still almost pure drop step it.
And make sure you're back into your stance. So this one, what you're going to want to do is you're really going to want to cheat. And watch, this is how you cheat this. You see her stance is about hip to hip. So her feet are hip wide.
Which cheat are you talking about? Switching feet or getting linear?
Linear.
Oh.
If she jumps over there and gets that way, that's not the same step. You're not back in your stance. You have to get back in your stance.
And preferably with the correct foot forward.
And if you can, with the correct foot forward.
Because the other way that some people will do this is you'll
Change feet.
switch every time, so you end up with a different foot forward.
Right.
Which you can do, but we're trying to keep the same stance every time for the sake of making it difficult. And then switch your stance and do it the whole way with the opposite stance.
And remember, as you're better at this, that burst, you hold it longer, and you can see my foot's outside the edge. My foot's just outside the edge. Okay? So the longer you hold it, the more burst you can pull into it. At first, so as you get better at this, the idea is to really get Germanicus, watch that knee.
Go backwards.
Yeah, I nearly came out from under.
Okay. That's the best typing here. I like Athelstan, you're 100% right. A lot of this stuff is fundamental footwork across every martial art, including fencing.
As an extension, the balance stuff actually kept me from going overboard yesterday.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Hey, Grimmer, let me see what you're doing. That's it. I want to see a little energy in that.
Okay, so do big one steps now.
There you go. Get to the other side of the ladder. That's it. Don't reach. Get that lean first. There you go. The more you can lean on the outside leg, the farther you'll get with your slide. For those looking for how this is used in fighting all the time. So if Side's my partner, I'm going to throw it back on us for a second. If Side's my partner and I'm fighting her, I can essentially push her one way and then shoot over here. Okay, now I got same thing. I push on this side, give her some tension, and then I shoot back over here behind her.
Sure, I totally.
Okay?
All right. Hold your stance for a second. Here.
So that's how those are used in fighting.
That's fine.
All right, Bess, watch those linear feet. Want you to good stance.
So earlier, I feel like I'm going to go completely.
All right. William, you're looking great, man. Just looking at people how they're doing. Bridget, that is very good. Watch it. Watch it leading. Remember, hold it even longer if you can now. I know you can do that. You've been busting it out all for the last couple of weeks here.
Looks like you are here.
Nice job standing. Yeah, that's the way. You guys are looking good over there.
Oh my God.
Remember, don't bring your feet together. If you're too close together, then you're going to lose your balance and you lose your opportunity to throw. Hard again. How you feeling there? That look good? That feel good to you? Just give me a thumbs up. Yeah, so. Okay. So this is really, I don't know how many times you've done it with us, but the idea is the more you can do this, the more you'll feel that burst in your lower body. You get stronger legs, that burst will come, and you'll be shooting back and forth, and that will be really the big key. Later, what happens in that is we're going to be working on an opponent, and we're going to show you. Come here. We're going to come back, and I'm going to show you some of the later stuff. So we're going to be working on an opponent. I may shoot to my left, and then they're going to change. So here, we have a scenario. I notice her feet aren't moving. So I may actually give her, like I'm going to shoot over there, and then I'm going to shoot behind her. But the other way, if she does move, I shoot over here. Then I shoot over here. Right?
I'm a step behind no matter how hard I try.
Exactly. And your target, you're always changing your target. So your head is always moving. It's very difficult for a person, especially in the SCA. They tend to want to line up and throw a shot. They grind down into the ground, they hold themselves, and then they prepare and throw a shot. If you move while they're doing that, you're taking that shot away. They have to re-prepare. And the key is you'll know how to set up faster, which would mean that you'll be prepared faster than they will be. All right, next one.
Okay, now we're going to switch over to that shuffle step. So we're back to 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And we're doing the same thing we were doing with the drop step. We're just reversing the order we move the feet. So I'm shifting here, and instead of picking up this one, I'm going to put this one in the box and come open. It's still a drop step. I'm still falling this way. I'm just catching with a different foot first.
And make sure you notice that she's all the way leaned over, almost like her leg is straight before she falls that way. Okay, her body is moved way beyond before she falls.
Perfectly valid reason that you should be concerned to work on what you're doing.
So we are working on the shuffle step. Bess is going to be happy because she knows how to do these already. We're going to do the shuffle step.
You can do this one backwards as well.
So after you guys are done doing this, I want to see it backwards. And if you got time, switch your feet. Oh, that's awesome, Bridget. Exactly. You're looking great, Bridget.
This one switches feet automatically.
Oh, yeah, this one switches feet automatically. Sorry, you don't have to switch your feet. Just forward and backwards.
It's all good.
Good. For you folks that have been doing this for a while, I'd like you to get down into that stance a little bit more. Get lower and work on that speed. Specifically, you know, people like William and Sivrid, you guys get down into those. I want you to, yeah, that's the way, William. Look how low he is. That's awesome.
Cough, cough, Bridget.
Yeah, cough, Bridget, because
You're getting too good. We're going to pick on you.
Yeah. Although your knight's going to be mad at you when you get back in. Bess, you're looking good on those. Ah, nice, Sivrid. Look at that. You can almost see Sivrid's feet, almost as it's sweeping over, you're almost off the ground at the same time. And that's what really... Good. And let's stand. I'm going to watch you guys.
Like the more you speed up, skip.
Yeah, the more you speed up. Oh, nice. Isabel, that's awesome. Woo. That looks great. Look. Yep. So you can take the step out, that first step. We're going to do one like that later. That's for Isabel there. You got one step in there. You got an extra step. So make sure when you're on the ladder, okay? This foot just comes kind of in the back. If I'm going backwards, that foot back. So don't take what I. You're taking a step and then doing a hop.
Step out.
Exercise. That's next. This one is early. One step.
We're doing a lot of small variations here, and I tried to reorder them so they build.
And for the folks that are doing this, one way to do it is do it really slow. Almost let your body do it for you. Shift your butt down and then fall. Shift your butt down in the other direction and fall. And you can really feel it in your body.
So it's a gather step out.
Nice and slow. Both forwards and backwards. You'll get the true feeling of how that's supposed to be.
No. In the square on the right hand side. So now you have room. Now I'm gathering steps. Yep.
How those guys doing?
Let's see.
Let's see.
I know I'm watching you.
Step forward with the left foot just a little bit. There you go. Gather out.
Gather out.
Forward, gather out.
Gather out.
Forward, gather out. Right.
See it again. I want to see that. You look pretty good there. I want to see it again.
You actually have a little bit of ear time in there. Okay.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
And you're doing a nice job keeping back. Now get that back perfectly straight up. Look up to the sky like you're looking at your opponent's top of his head. So when you guys do these exercises, the goal is to make it look like you're looking at the top of somebody's head. Abelard, you're doing a nice job this week with your back being straight. I tell you what, 100% improvement. William, you're correct. You guys over there as usual.
Fox, you guys are doing a different step. You guys have added a second step into it. It
You're
should be a
100%.
2 count.
Yeah.
they're one exercise ahead.
Nice, Abelstan. That's the way. Now I want you to bend your knees a little bit more. There we go. Good. So I'm going to do this one again. If everybody wants to watch, I'm going to do this on an opponent. Here we are. So here's a gather step that we just showed you earlier. You notice I'm over here about to her 45. If I add a shuffle step, I'm going to swing this one here. You notice I'm almost all the way into her corner now. So the difference between a gather step and a shuffle step is a good bit of distance. All right. Nice to have you here, Louis. If you want to, can keep an eye on some folks.
Trying to.
All right.
Instead, I'll bend your knees when you do this.
Okay. So you can see that this shuffle step, either way, here I am, again, gather step. I get pretty far over here. Now, watch. Here I am, and I'm going to shuffle step across. Now I'm way behind you. All right? So that gives you a difference of what we use that shuffle step for. So if you have an opponent that maybe that gather step doesn't quite get far enough around, they have a shield, right? They have this shield, and I do a shuffle step, and they block that shot. I'm like, or they block that hook wrap. Here I am, gather step, they block it. Shuffle step, no block.
And I pulled it further.
And I'm actually hitting her in the other side of her body.
In the sword butt cheek.
Exactly. All right. So that's how that's used. We use that to evaluate. We evaluate our opponent, and then we're like, all right, the simple gathering step don't work, but I think a shuffle step will give me more range. And then you add that into your fight. All right. So what I'm trying to do for everybody today is show how it's used. All right. Next.
All right. So now we're going to do almost the exact same thing, but we're going to add that extra step in that some folks were already doing. So instead of starting in the letter, we're going to start behind it, and I'm going to step forward and do that shuffle step.
And look how her feet come together.
Now I'm going to step to the next box and do that shuffle back across. Step, shuffle. So we call this the 3-step because it's 1, 2, 3.
No, I'm stick.
There you go.
It's a waltz. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Back behind it. You step up.
Pretty good, folks out there. Make sure you can start adding some burst to this a little bit. Okay? Step.
Woo! You guys are gonna like this one. Right.
Oh yeah, the crossover.
Don't cross yet.
Next one will
cross.
Oh,
now,
okay. You're not actually crossing.
Not yet.
we're just coming together right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Close.
that's
Together apart.
Nice job, Blue.
what he's doing.
Oh, you're stepping in behind your foot. Sorry, didn't see that part.
So the key is your sides of your feet should be hitting. I'm gonna watch a little bit. You guys got 2 other coaches watching, so it's gonna be good. And then do it backwards. You can see sides doing it backwards.
Stay up.
Just like the same thing you did.
This fingers lean forward.
Yep, step forward. Yep. Yeah, nice.
All right, I was hungry.
All right, giving you a watch. Good. All right, Bess, I want you to add some speed to these. Yeah, speed them up.
Man, I like that a lot.
I can count or I can go fast. I'll try.
I'm pushing you this week. Kinsey, I'm gonna get your name all messed up all the time, but you're looking good. You're really doing a great job there. So the next time through, I want you to look up. Don't worry about the ladder. Look up, keep your back straight.
I found very few things in my life that have me being able to go from 0 to 100.
Oh, that's better. You can do it. Look at that, Beth. You don't even need to count anymore. That's where we're getting to. Look at you like back and forward, no problem. Very nice. Magrat, you're looking pretty good there. Like the feet. All right, Germanicus, let's see.
You make a big step.
Good. Nice and smooth. That's the way to work the space you got.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh shit. But now what is this really?
All right, let me see, Grimmer.
My reach?
Good. Yes.
Well,
Exactly. You're doing a nice job on your back this week, man. Congratulations. I know that was a thing we harped on last week, and you're doing a nice job. That's the way to do it. Everybody feeling good about these? All right, I got some thumbs up. Awesome, I like it. Very good.
I'm sure we'll cover it.
I gotta wait for the camera. I don't know what's going on.
Same thing.
All right, we're gonna roll into the next one.
All right.
We're going to do that exact same thing, but we're going to add a little bit of distance by going ahead and crossing our legs this time. So I'm forward into the box, and I'm actually just stepping on the side of the box, and then I'm going to cross them up behind and open. So instead of our feet coming together and open, we're crossing behind, so you get more distance out of it. And doing it very slow like this, I get this big awkward cross in the legs. As you speed it up and it becomes more of a skip, you're not spending nearly as much time awkwardly crossing your legs.
Right, so we're gonna go to foot cam. I really wanna explain this one so everybody can see it. Again, you notice when we do these large skips, we're using the outside lines on the box. But the idea here is, as we're stepping forward, this foot, we're not turning it. You see how bad this foot's turned? This turns my whole hip. You can't do that. Otherwise, that skip doesn't work and you're turning your hips out of rotation to your opponent. You want to, as best as possible, keep those toes going down the ladder. Notice my hip doesn't turn. If I turn my heel out, my hip turns. Heel back, my hip doesn't turn.
And it's easier to do that when your knees are bent.
Right, so here I am.
And when you're moving quicker.
Right, and again, the idea is I'm leaning this way, so I'm dropping into this motion. This foot's coming across. Again, I'm not turning it this way, so if I turn it this way, my hip turns. My heel literally leads. Okay?
Forward with your left foot. Yep. You don't have to cross all the way outside the box. You can be in the box.
Whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Bring it like forward.
So, a couple of pieces to remember on this one. Make sure you're leading, doing a good drop step. In other words, your hip should be over your foot before that foot goes. And then it's going to be, yes, that's it, Bridget. Let me see it, Bess. Good. Much better at not twisting your hips this time. Awesome. All right, let's see how our other folks are doing here. Hey, it's nice to have you, Severic.
Holy shit. Screw that guy.
I can never do that.
Remember, backwards crosses over the front, not the back.
Right.
Yes.
So yes.
Nice job, Grimmer. Germanicus, really good as normal. Yeah, there you go, good. It's hard because you have to work with the space you have. Abelard, that looks much better on that. Watch your hip rotation though, okay? Really, you're doing much better. You probably just pulled like an inch out of that hip rotation. Because I know that we have, with you, it's going to be all about those hips, okay? This week, by the way, you're looking much better.
Real straight now.
Yeah, you're a lot straighter now.
Yes.
All right, again, let me see how you're doing. I don't get to see your feet, but I'm going to watch you. Go ahead. You're fine. Nice. You're doing a really nice job on dropping that hip before you move your feet. So that I really like that. Good job. That's the way. Those feel good? Give me a thumbs up. Yes? Awesome.
Corrigan, try not to rise on the outsides. You have a nice low, the low height you are in the middle is the height you should stay at the whole time. So it shouldn't be a drop down, drop up, drop down, up. Just stay down.
Let's see that again, Sivert. You look like you had a hard time going backwards there.
I think Sivert is stepping and not falling.
Yeah, he's falling on the back step. But I think if he adds a little bit more drop into those sideways as well.
There you go. That's going to feel awkward, but that's the right way. Once you get comfortable with that, you can make it smoother. But that was better, much better.
And you can bend that knee as it's shifting across it and take that awkwardness out.
Yeah, I just had to slow it down. I was moving too fast through it.
Okay.
Just watch the front foot, how far it's kicking out in front of you.
Right.
And going backwards.
Okay.
Comments. I don't know how long ago. If it's possible to still get a Zoom link.
Benjamin, I think if you're in the comments, if it's possible to get a Zoom link, we'll send you one right now.
We'll try.
We're gonna try. Saib's gonna work on sending you one. Actually, it's in. Louis, if you're in Facebook, can you send Benjamin the Zoom?
That would probably be easier.
Send it to who?
In Facebook, he posted asked it where the Zoom link.
Yeah,
is
okay,
from.
got it.
Thank you. Oh, nice, Kensa. That's awesome. Your back is much better. And Edlistan, you're doing an excellent job keeping stacked. Very good. We're going to work on Sivert a little bit more for both of these. He can be, I know what he can do, and he can be a lot smoother. All right. We're going to push you guys now. Here's our next one.
All right. So now we're going to sort of do two of them back to back, two drop steps. I'm going to start on one side of the ladder. This is a 4-step for those of you that are big with it. Drop step into the ladder, feet together, and drop step out the other side. So it's 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it should be 2 drop steps in a row, really, is what's happening. So a drop with a shuffle in the middle.
Again, keep those legs nice and bent. And you can keep your stance through most of this. Oops.
Yeah, ideally you end up in your correct stance
God damn, why am I having
at the
trouble
end of
with
each one on either side of the ladder. So that means if your left foot starts forward, it ends up forward every time you stop. Or if your right foot is normally forward, then your right foot's forward every time you stop.
So the big piece on this is you're keeping this drop longer. It's like you're catching your foot yourself all the way through this. Right? So this would be...
It's a controlled stumble.
It's a controlled stumble. So what we're happening is if I'm fighting my opponent, we're going to go sideways here. And she flips off this way, I shift like this. And then I'm going. Right? So she can do the same thing. And you can see that we go together. I'm going to show you, and we're going to do this step next, all the way over. Here's what happens when we do just shuffle steps, and I add a back step into it. You can see I outdistance her. So again, we got a gather step, which is fundamentally that first drop step. We got a shuffle step that increases more range. And then that cross step across the back, even more range. Right? So each one of those allows you to push that range farther. And what we're trying to do is get in that place where we can understand how to use it and when to use it.
Yeah, as much as you've been told to never cross your feet, you can totally cross your feet just on purpose. It's got to be on purpose.
All right, let's do that backwards too.
Don't run into Bob.
Same thing. Push yourself, guys. Push yourself, everyone. The idea here is make sure you're doing it right, but push yourself. We're out here working. This is a practice, right? I want to see some sweat at the end of this.
Remember, it is a 4 count. Bang, 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 bang. And end in your stance. And just like always, because I keep seeing people stop doing it, you need to be low. If you start standing up because you're tired, you're going to do it wrong.
And then do this to where your knee is comfortable. Right? So, but if you're feeling good about these, then get a little lower into them. Make them work. A lot of times, the lower you get, the more burst you'll get into these, the faster they become. Nice, William. You guys are going to have to peg that ladder down. Good, Sibrid. Very nice. Way to keep your hands up.
Getulio, when you get to one side of the ladder or the other side of the ladder, try to balance your feet, like the weight on both of your feet to get them equal so that you are not cheating a little bit. And then once you get better form, then you can slide a little easier, but try to get the weight distribution between your 2 feet a little more even.
Good. How you guys feeling over there at the sand?
Much better.
You guys good? Give me a thumbs up if you want. Awesome. You guys enjoying yourself, I hope? Double thumbs up. Must be okay. All right. Remember, how's those? Those being better for you? All right. Way to go. Angie's look like getting dark over there. Way to keep it up. You push yourself.
This is an international practice.
I know. It's very cool that this is international practice. So it's awesome having people. All right. Let's go for the next one.
Okay, next one. Now we're going to switch over to our in and out drills. So we're going to start sideways, lateral in and out. So I'm facing the ladder. I'm going to my right. So I'm going to start with my right foot and step in the box, out of the box, in, out, moving laterally. And you want your whole body to move forward and back. You don't want to just like reach your feet out while your body's right here. All the way in and out.
So what this is teaching you is that you're moving your center a lot smaller. So she's literally moving it about 6 inches at a time, but that means you're dropping forward and you're dropping backwards, dropping forward, dropping backwards. All right? So there's a little bit that the drop step becomes very small in this. And that's the key, is make sure you're going really in, out, in, out.
And you build up a lot of agility as you speed this one up.
So what you're talking about is pushing your center in and out of the box. Okay.
If you're just trying to do this fast, this is fine. You're going to have a much smaller drop into these.
Is the point to keep your head straight and not moving it?
Yes.
Always.
Always. The idea is you don't want that head. So, and I'm going to show you guys after we're done, before we go on to our next one, I'm going to show you where this might work in a fight.
You want to hold, or you want me to hold you?
Yes. Always. All right. Nice, Hawk.
Someone's got your Facebook live stream playing sound so we can hear it.
Let's see it again, Magrat. Nice, girl. That's the way. Look how fast you are. Awesome.
Ingolf, you are very fast, but you are not going in and out with your body. It's only your feet going in and out.
All right, so I'm going to show everybody as we do this, so you can see how you would use this in a fight. All right, so I'll give you a second. So in a fight, I might be at a range that's a little just on the edge. So my edge here is I can't reach her. I'm pretty far away actually. So what I might do is I might just fall in like bang, and then I fall back out. So my yeah, go ahead. So she's doing it.
Oh no, I was just
No, go ahead.
just back. Yeah, no, you
I know.
in the fight.
Good. So she's just adding those steps in and then steps out. Okay? So in a fight, you can use these. A lot of times it will only be one way, but sometimes it could be forward where I'm falling in and throwing a shot. Or like, bam. Okay? Or it could be backwards. I could be like, just falling out.
Smaller than our like.
And it's, yeah,
This
this
is
is
step.
a lot smaller than the long jump steps. All right.
Can be anyway.
Best, that's looking good. That large, it'll be better too. Watch that turning in your foot. And make sure those feet are square forward again. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so Bridget's asking what's the point of the stance? I feel like these drills are keeping me on the balls of my my feet and what?
What is the point of stance? I feel like these drills are keeping on the balls of my feet and weight centered all the time, so I can throw from any stance. Am I wrong?
Nope, that's exactly it. Bridget, you're nailing it on the head.
So
Right?
what's the point of having a stance if we're learning how to throw from everywhere?
And that is 100%. So she asked, essentially, what's the point of the stance? Well, the stance gives us good defense and a place that we always start and go back to. But realistically, because we're on the balls of our feet all the time and moving, we should be able to throw and block from any position. So I could literally be out fighting and I could be like, here I am, step on that front foot, and then I'm throwing, and then I'm here, or I just lean forward and throw. It doesn't matter because I'm just constantly moving. Bang! I throw and I move. Bang! Right? So 100%. You will find yourself always going back to your standard. You should, because that's going to be the place that you're most solid from. But the idea here is we're learning to transition all the time and throw from any position. Because you're centered, and you nailed it on the head. It's all from the center. All right. You guys ready for the next one? Thumbs up? All right.
Now we're going to do the other version of in and out out, which is forward, facing down the ladder. I'm going to step out to the side and into the box. And again, the point is stay level here, and everything just floats underneath.
Yeah.
Then you can do it again, starting with the other leg. I started with left, right last time, so I'm starting with right now.
Yeah.
This one you can also do backwards with both legs.
You got it. Now we're going to do it backwards.
If you're still struggling with forward, you don't necessarily have to try backwards. But we're going to throw all the levels of complexity out there.
And then switch your feet backwards. This one kills me still.
Oh, you know, if my hip didn't cramp up, it'd be great.
Julio, on the balls of your feet,
And then one
off the heels just a little bit. Perfect.
Go for it.
Take it away.
Looks good, Settle.
Okay. Try it again.
So the good part about this one is it's teaching you to work both your feet. We're learning both the sides of our body in this one. Not only we're leading with one foot, but we're also learning how to go forward and how to go backwards. We're going to be doing that in fights all the time. This is fundamental. The only thing I'm teaching you is that this is a technique and just not natural behavior.
Hard backward.
Yes, it's hard backwards. And again, going backwards.
It's a whole different set of
I'm going to show
muscles,
you.
surprisingly.
Don't tilt your butt out. Don't get duck butt going backwards. This is not good.
Yeah.
You should be sitting, not leaning. Don't lean your shoulders backwards to go backwards. Don't stick your butt out to go backwards. You keep that body nice and straight. Sit into the empty, small feet.
Down, yeah. Down and back.
All right, we're watching, guys. Isabel, that looks good. And you keep your head up. I love it. That's the way.
Bridget, if you can sit a little bit lower. There
Yeah.
you go, right there.
Sorry, Bridget, but we're being tough on you nowadays just because you're so good. How you doing, Bess?
Considering you're likely to have.
All right, I love the double finger, double thumbs there.
Double finger.
Yep. All right.
It's true.
Now let's see you doing fast, Bess. You've been here a long time.
Let's see.
Oh.
Good. That's the way. See, the good part here, Bess, is you're just letting yourself. It's okay to make mistakes if you make them. You don't have to count your way through them. You've done them long enough. You can just push right through them. That your brain's starting to take over.
Did you see that question?
So there's a big question on how does this work when people are
When you get rushed by someone bigger than you.
when you get
without-
rushed by someone bigger.
Without getting trapped in the corner. In the
Right.
nest.
So this is all about getting trapped or falling straight backwards. We'll teach you falling straight backwards isn't a great thing, but the thing you're learning here is you're learning to use your center to move you around. So I'm going to show with side here. I could be going backwards in this. I'm just going to let my hips fall, and now I'm going backwards, and then I just let my hips fall to one corner. So all I did there is I'm going to do it in slow motion.
You mean walking?
Right? And then I tilt and I go into that way. Now this specific move, this is more of an foot agility move, but if I'm doing this for my opponent, I can give him a double fake with my feet. Guys coming at me, I go, right?
I don't know what's happening.
So I gave an out, and fall. That out and out makes them think I'm moving either way. They slow down and then you fall out. So that's another way to use that. Does that make sense?
Do it. It's all right.
What's gonna happen? Luckily, I gave him a black card. So
Let me find you on our picture there. Does that make sense, guys? Did that answer the question a little bit? Yeah, okay, good. Again, just having that agility. So the way people normally move backwards, and we'll see this in football, is I'm going to show again. A lot of times, we're going to do it on our side. A lot of times, I push my butt out and I drive. I drive with my toes. My feet are doing the work, not my center. But look at my angles. I'm going to grab a sword. From this angle, I can throw nice and high. My shield is blocking the top of my head. As soon as I start driving with the balls of my feet, this is as high as I can throw. And my shield is no longer blocking my head.
What are you doing?
But if I fall using my center, now I can still throw and I still got a good block. So that's keeping you in a position that's also offensive. I'll use that all the time. I'll make people run me down. This is called a little bit of the rope-a-dope, right? You push them and then you pull them, right? You pull them into you and you're like, bang! Because what's going to happen is you catch them on a step, you catch them on a shield falling down. There's all kinds of ways to manipulate an opponent. All right. Looks like everybody's mostly done with these. We're going to run through the next one.
You're flying. Yeah, never mind. I thought you guys were driving. Dude.
All right, hold on, guys. We're gonna do just let's explain this one. Ready?
Pivot stance. I'm actually in a switch stance since I'm going to my right. Put my right foot forward. I'm just gonna jump all the way in and out.
Again, this is one that you want to be in, out.
It's
You
not
should
a-
feel your shift here and then your shift back out.
and it's not huge, but
That's nice and slow. Don't let your front foot turn because then you're turning your hip. So keep that front foot where it's supposed to be, facing your opponent or whatever way that your natural balance is.
That one looked better, Julio. Try to get your center moving forward and back as much as your feet are moving forward and back. Your whole body goes forward, your whole body comes back. Yep.
We're gonna do this step a lot today, so let's get it right. So, I'm gonna show later after this is done, we're gonna show this step. This step really does work in fighting. We see it in boxing constantly. We do it, so we started doing it here, and it works incredibly.
Get you light on your feet.
Isabel, both feet at the same time.
Yep. Morgan, that looks good. You're doing a nice job. Your body's coming in and out. I'd like you to tuck your hips underneath you a little bit more. Okay?
Much better.
Just think about tilting them forward. Yep, tilt those hips forward. Yep, yeah, you did it right, your hands. That's perfect right there. Nice job. Yeah. That you understood exactly what we were talking about.
Abelard's doing a lot better too.
He is. This week he's not turning his feet.
Yep.
Mad Rat, you're really getting jabby at those. I mean, I can't wait to fight you.
How much do you want this to be a fall forward drop step style thing, and how much is it a push off your back foot?
Depends. Now later we're gonna do next exercise is actually gonna be the back foot push as well.
it's some of both.
Yeah, this one's mostly fall forward. The faster you get, the more you're gonna push on your back foot. So you won't get to fall as much. So it's okay to do this fast as long as you know what you're doing. So you can you'll get a little bit more tilt in the body.
Hold on, I gotta find our camera.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to treat this as a drop step.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out how to drop it. It does. I can't shift my weight forward that far to make it a drop.
Correct. Well, that's something different, but right here, we're just trying to get the whole body and the feet moving at the same time. So you're really not shifting your center over your feet first. You're just trying to learn how to get everything moving evenly at quickly.
So it's a push from both foot then. It's pushing from both feet then, really.
Yes.
Thanks.
You feel your hip and your feet engage at the same time. Not your feet hold back like a drop step holds your feet hold you back.
Actually, also, if you think about it, with pushing with your back foot and pulling with your front foot.
All right, I'm gonna watch a few more here, and then we're gonna do our next one. So, like I said, this one's a really nice drill in fighting. So in fighting, and we're gonna do this a little bit later. In fighting, I could be standing here, and I do this little pop, bang, and I throw a jab shot. And then I'm back, out of range. Bang, out of range. Bang, out of range. Bang, out of range. Okay? So we're going to be doing that shot today. We're going to also be breaking angles on those. So not only do we fall straight back, or we're also going to learn to fall to either side after a jab shot. Okay? All right, we're going to do one more here. We're going to do the switch foot. So this is one of these that we thought we would never do, and we were absolutely totally wrong. So we start with one foot in the box, and you're just going to switch. Now I got my foot in that box. I'm going to take my foot that's out of the box and replace it. Okay?
And try to keep your center moving straight down the ladder in a line.
Yep.
Not bouncing, not going in and out.
and then back. And again, keep your feet going straight forward.
Yep, balls of your feet too.
That's the way. Hands up, eyes high. Blue, I really want you to tuck that hip under you this time.
Yeah, get your shoulders back.
Bridget, nice, you're getting faster feet. Very nice.
Ethelstan and Senya, those look great.
How we doing down there, Grimmer? We working your sweat up, or are you like, whatever, give me more?
My knees are not a big fan of being airborne.
I get that. They get a nice shuffle.
Do what
And
you gotta
then,
do.
yeah, do what you can do. And if these hurt you, don't do them. All right. Nice, folks. Those are looking great. The key here becomes that in a fight, this is the way this looks. And I'm going to show you which side. Grab a shield. All right. So Rongvalder is really the one that we were doing these, and I was very skeptical as well. And then I showed Rongvalder, and Rongvalder's like, why would you do that? But as soon as he picked it up, he did it and threw a shot. And then I realized this is a real shot that's absolutely wonderful to have. So I could be here, and really, I could throw that leg shot or that hooking leg, and I'm not even close. You can see I'm not even close. But as soon as I switch my feet, I'm around, because your hip is farther forward. So it shifts you basically to that sword foot forward stance real quick that people use so that the hip is forward already to get more depth. And it switches you into that, and then you switch back into your normal. So here you are, it's like bang. Okay? Bang. If I throw it here, bang. Even if I drop a little bit, just barely. Bang.
Or once you've switched your feet, instead of switching back, you can do one of those cross steps off
Yes.
to the side, because
Right.
you're now prepped for it.
So then we add, like Saib said, we can essentially do a quick foot switch, throw, and spin out. Just a cross step, right?
In the leg, you disappeared behind my
Right.
leg.
So all of a sudden here, I could start way out here. I'm going to add a couple. Here I am. I do a jab, bang. See how I jabbed in with my feet? I do a switch step, and then I do a back step. I had 3 opportunities in that, and I took myself offline. That's how you see how we're stacking the steps? These are so easy. The problem is we don't think about them. But now that you know them, you get to think about it and how it's used in fighting. The best part here is, it used to be that the big athletic guys came in and they had an advantage. You get this kind of technique down, that advantage goes away after a period of time for those people that don't understand what they're doing. The more you understand what you're doing, the more your technique takes care of you, the more and the better you get, and easier it is for you to move forward, even compared to somebody that's naturally athletic. Because it's very hard for them to learn because they're not willing to. So this is a great exercise, especially for those that may not be that athletic. All right, next one.
So now we're going to do that jab step, and this one we're going to make a little longer so you can get some drop step action happening. I'm going to start at this rung, and I'm going to do that jab jump straight forward 2 rungs, and then I'm going to drop back 1. Forward 2, back 1.
Same thing, try to get your whole body to move forward from your center and your back and backward.
If you get the hang of it, you can switch to your other foot forward and try it that way.
Yeah, go ahead.
2 rungs forward, 1 rung back.
So now we're trying to get more burst. And remember, that burst isn't up and down. That burst should be straight forward. so it's hard for your opponent to see. Couple things happen, and there's a reason why we go back that foot instead of more. Is sometimes we'll do this long lunge and we'll get a little stretched out in our feet. Right? Even though I gathered, my foot may be a little more stretched than I want. So just by resetting, going back a foot, your feet come back together naturally. It also changes that distance that your opponent gets to see. So in a fight, here's what happens. Again, she's going to make a good block because I don't want to hit her. I can just touch her basket. Right? So now I'm going to spring forward. Now you notice I'm actually too close. I could hit her with the basket if I wanted to.
And I'm going, okay.
So now I'm going to push myself way out here. Look at this. I am way far away. So now I spring in, bang. Perfect shot. Bang. Now I'm already, look, she can't reach me. So I had a shot. She blocks. Out of her block, even if she's ready to throw again, I'm out of range. All right? So that's where this shot works really well. Because what happens to your opponent is they literally block, blind themselves, and then you could actually fall off to the side. You got all kinds of other opportunities to do after this. So let's get doing it. So you're going to do it both feet, and then you're going to do it backwards.
Because we love making things hard.
Because wrong bowler loves making things hard.
Just gonna name names, I see.
I'm just going to drop mean people's names.
Because it feels more useful to me backwards.
It's hard to drop backwards. I always find myself reaching backwards instead of dropping backwards.
Gotta work at it. I'm kind of doing half and half right now because I haven't quite got it either. I'm falling and then also reaching.
That's all right. That's kind of what you're doing. You're doing a little bit of both. You're actually falling and reaching, and you're a little even pushing off your front foot a little bit.
Eighth will stand. That looked really good.
And I'm just going to say it again. There's a lot of people on, so we're trying to catch as many people as we can. So if you're having an issue, you guys just yell and we'll fix it. You can see everybody else is still working hard. That's the idea. At the beginning, when you're first doing this, I don't expect a huge burst. Just make them nice and small. Like Grimmer's still working, but you know it's amazing. He's doing such a nice job now, getting off both his feet moving at the same time. It's really, really cool to watch him. For a big guy that's 6'6", you don't expect people like that size moving this way.
Remember, people, this isn't about covering distance. This is about moving your stance forward as far as you comfortably can. If you lunge with that front leg, your hip will turn offline and you will have no shot. What you are actually doing is driving that back hip forward so you land in stance. Eventually, you're going to throw a shot when your feet hit the ground. If your hips are sideways, you will get no shot.
Exactly. And wrong baller's hitting it on the head there. So if you find your front foot, when it lands, make sure you're not turning your toe in. Okay? So there we go. That's Abelard. You did it exactly. The first one, you turned your toe in. Now you fixed it. That was exactly it.
So basically, we want to be taking as big a steps as we can without turning our hip.
Exactly. You're actually almost driving your back leg, like Ron Bowler said. You're driving your back hip forward, and your front just goes along for the ride.
Not stepping, jumping forward in a straight line, barely coming off the ground.
So the next piece, Couturier. So the next piece is going to be, watch, we're going to go to foot cam. There we go. So on this, you're doing a little bit of lead. You see how my foot leads me here? This is what you're doing. Instead, look how my center leads me. And then I just drop into it. All right, so I'm going to do it again. Here I am. I start leading over that hip, starts going over that front leg. I lift it, and I burst out. Still a lot like a drop step, but there's a lot of other things going on there. I'm pushing with this back foot the same way. You can see that I push. I'm going to do it, and this is hard to do in slow motion because anything drop foot is hard. But I'm going to do it right at the camera. If I lead this way, you see how my hips turn. That's not what it is. I'm literally taking this hip and I'm going to drive. I'm leaning forward. This is flat coming forward. And then, bang, I'm right here. And this is a lot harder to see. You see, I'm right in this camera. It's like, I'm here now. Much harder to see for your opponent because you're not changing height and you're not moving your feet first. All right?
Push off that back foot when you get over.
That's it. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Awesome. Bess, that looks good too. You're doing a great job there. Isabel, how's that look?
I had a question that I don't fully understand.
Okay, Ethan-san and Kensa, you guys had a question. Falling back, do you step with your forward or back foot? So I'm on the foot cam again. Again, watch me going backwards. Here I am. Look at my butt is literally going over that foot I'm going to lift. As I lift this foot, I push on these toes. So literally, here I am. I'm falling. Right back into that foot and then pop forward again. Pop forward again. Lean back.
Did you do it with your sword foot forward?
So I can do it with sword foot.
Question
Here we
mark.
go. Here I go again. Look, I'm kind of dropping over that hip. And if you have to, just do it slow. Here I am, dropping over the back foot, reach, and then step
You
forward.
just started doing it, period. Sorry, period.
So, again, this is your first week. Do things small. If you have problems, ask the questions. And great people here. But do it small. If first you're not sure, let your body tell you. I'm pushing this butt down. Whoop, I'm going to step back. Now I'm going to hold it as long as I can. Oh, step back. Right? So that second one felt bad for me. So I'm going to do the first one again. There we go. Good. Here we go. Do the first one again. And I'm going to drop forward. Drop forward. My heel is going.
All right, so we're gonna glue them together.
All right.
So you're gonna leave it here.
I'm going to watch you guys 8 to 10. That's not bad. Good.
Julia, just for the sake of it, try to do one where you go real far forward so you feel how that push does off the back foot, and then go back to the same range.
Nice, Bess. Good. Now, Bess, I'm going to push you to be faster and faster and a little bit smaller.
That's my turn.
Do it again. Sorry. Window jumped.
Bronis, did you say
This one makes me feel
smaller
like a cripple,
steps?
period.
Yeah, when I say smaller, what I mean is just lower.
Ah, okay.
That was better.
That was better.
Watch how far it turned out that back foot is.
A little bit.
And it feels awful.
When that back foot
Turn it in a little bit.
makes the front foot want to turn.
So for you, you're actually learning how to use the balls of your feet better right now.
Yeah, it does feel super weird.
I know.
Yep.
So slide on the balls of your feet right at the beginning. Go back to him for a second.
Yeah, turn your your back foot forward a little. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see how your hip is flowing forward along with your front foot? You're just getting that timing down. That's why it feels weird. There, good.
That was really good.
All right. Everybody's looking like they're wrapping up here.
We got one more.
We got one more here. I'm gonna. Okay. All right, we're gonna do one more, and this is to really drive on the understanding of pointing your feet. All right. This becomes really important because it's gonna come important later as we do some Pell stuff. But this becomes really important. And again, you don't need a pedal to do the stuff we're doing. You just need that imaginary, you could put a shoe and rotate around the shoe. I don't care. But the key on this one is pointing your feet so that you can manipulate around an opponent instead of just standing in front of them. So Side's going to show you.
So we're going to do our turning step drill here. I'm standing beside the ladder, facing into it. I'm in my normal stance, so I stand shield foot forward, left foot forward. I'm going to take this back leg, my back leg, step it into the ladder with my foot pointing down the ladder. Then I'm going to flip around, get back in my stance. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing. Back foot in the ladder pointing down. Flip back into my stance on the other side. And we're just going to do that the whole way down. It is always the same back foot taking the step.
Pointing down the ladder. So remember, the idea here is you're pointing down the ladder is your opponent. So you could be essentially on this corner of me, and she takes that turn, and now she's on this corner of me. So at the beginning, if you have a hard time turning your foot, just do this on 45s.
Yeah, you don't have to turn 90 degrees if it's going to hurt you.
Right.
You can go from here.
But, so again, depending on your knee, if you got a bad knee, I would suggest 45s. If you don't, we are overworking this. You'll probably never use a real 90 degree like this, unless somebody literally moves on you. In other words, somebody gives a big flip and they go out to the side of you, then all of a sudden, you know, maybe I do this and I change, right? But most of the time, that 45 is going to be enough. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. And then again, we can get a little faster. You're falling into these steps. Look how I lean my body first. I'm going to do it really slow. Look, I lean, I fall, I step. I lean, I fall, I step.
If you're comfortable with this and you're a little bit more advanced, try to do the whole thing on the balls of your feet. It takes more balance control.
And then we're going to go ahead and do the next one.
So the next one, we're going to start off exactly the same in my stance, side of the ladder, but now instead of stepping with the back foot, I'm going to step with my front foot. So it's the same thing, into the ladder, down. I'm just stepping with the front first, and then flipping around back into my stance.
This is
back into the stance.
This is a much smaller step. Make sure you're not bringing that foot all the way back. You have to think very small here.
Well, that front foot is a small step, and then your back foot has to reach a little further, so you have room to pull the front foot back out of the ladder. So you just have to adjust your steps so that you can end up back in. And I'm trying to use generic front foot, back foot terminology instead of left, right, because I know we've got some people that use different stances either because they stand sword foot forward or because they're lefties. So I'm trying to keep it generic.
Remember, if you get it, you got to do it all 8 ways.
Yeah?
Yes.
So in other words, 8 ways is go down the ladder and back up the ladder with the same either back or front foot. That's 4 ways. And then you have switch your feet and do it again.
Well, what 1 ways? Normal stance, step with the back foot. Normal stance, step with the front foot. Switch stance, back foot and front foot.
Yeah.
And backwards of all 4
Right,
of those.
exactly. And that's by coming back down, that's how I do it.
Yeah, but just saying coming back down doesn't tell people you need
What
to
you're
backwards.
really backwards, yeah. But it is. To me, it's not really backwards, it's just pointing my foot a different way. Right? So if I go this way, my foot pointed this way.
Senya, when you're doing that, try to keep the same stance on both sides of the ladder instead of switching stance.
You're switching now, you're doing one
So if your
forward,
left foot's forward on one side of the ladder, try to finish with your left foot forward on the other side of the ladder.
So I just did it up and down the ladder, and it's
like forward means I'm pointing that way while moving that way.
right.
Backwards means I'm pointing that way while moving this way. So if this is like your first or second time doing this,
Just
don't necessarily wander into trying to figure out backwards. Just get the move.
Just do them forwards and switch your feet.
Because this one can be very confusing for a number of people the first time you try it. And this is our last one. After this,
water.
You can drink water and stop thinking about crazy weird feet ladder.
Oh,
things.
yeah. Then we get in crazier feet.
No. No, we do not.
So yeah, after this one, what we're gonna do is we'll go ahead and get your Pell out. The Pell can be anything from could even set a box in front of you, or if you have a Pell, go ahead and use it. Make sure you have some room around it. If you don't have a lot of room where you're working, make it so it's only, even if you only have enough, push it against the wall so you have all the way half a circle. Okay? My suggestion for the folks that have been doing this for a while, if you haven't been doing this for a while, then just go ahead and follow this feet first all the time here. And for the people that have been doing this, I want you to go ahead and get your sword and shield. For the people that are in transition, you could just put something in your hand. I don't care if it's like a spatula, whatever, right? So that you feel like you have, and you're gonna actually sometimes throw and think about throwing that spatula, right? And that way you can work in a small area. See, no hammers.
Why not?
Blue, I love your bunny ears.
Note to self, don't piss off Side.
Yes, I like this. Push broom
It's
is okay.
Mew Mew.
Okay, he blocks better than I throw, so he'll be fine.
I saw, yeah, no saws. That'd be a bad idea too. Yeah, I like that Pell right there. You got the cat toy on it. That's awesome. All right, you guys all make sure you get some water. All right, and we're just gonna go ahead and get some good rotations on those ankles, everyone. I know we've been working them a lot. If you're on a hard floor, it's definitely been getting some work on them. All right. Cover a lot of how you throw here necessarily, but we will cover a good bit of the timing inside of a throw, right? When and why. If you want to know more about how we throw, I'll be doing some stuff on how we throw, but I'm not really here to tell you, because I don't want to tell you that there's only one way. I want you guys to go ahead and continue throwing, but I don't care if it's tipped back, on your shoulder, any given way. It's about the timing inside that throw along with your feet that really matter, okay? So we're not in that space, you know, that I'm gonna say you're doing it wrong. There's no wrong. The real P, while there are wrong, but you can get stuff out of even wrong positions. But the key is I'm not gonna change where your sword is. I just want you to understand where it is and make sure it always returns there. And make sure you're always starting from the same position every time you do a movement back to position, okay? So make sure you know where your position is. I will tell you that when you're thinking about throwing, I want you to think about what part of the sword you're going to be hitting with. And that's the part you should be thinking about. Not your hand. That's not what you hit with. You hit with the top of your sword. So that top, you should be thinking, that top of the sword to that perfect spot on your opponent's body. Again, don't care where your sword is. I care that you're thinking the right way. All right? All right. So we're not going to do rotational movements around the belt today. We're going to do we're going to stack some of the drills.
My bad.
This is where you have them usually, right?
Back of the circle, yeah.
Back of the circle. We're going to do some of the drills we do about popping into distance and then rotational breaking off either left, right, or backwards. So this we can do with, just because you guys already put a lot of work in, but this one, we'll start with, we're going to start really easy with that long jab step we just learned. So, and we're going to have Saib show this in a second, but essentially the same thing. We're going to walk through, we got a long jab step, we're going to throw, and we're going to come down. It's the timing on the step and the throw that matters. Again, you don't have to be throwing here. What you have to be doing is thinking about it. So first thing you have to do is, if you're doing this for the first time and you're not using sword and shield, which is a good idea if you don't feel comfortable, think about that jab, looking in your opponent, looking into your opponent's eye. Think about even if you're not doing this sword, think about how the energy towards that guy's head would be. Okay? So I want it to feel like a real shot. It doesn't have to be one, but I want you to start tapping in to how this should feel and the timing that should be part of it. So Saib's going to go ahead and do it. Yep. This is going to be just a long jab and one step back. And again, we're going to do this about 10, 15 times. Long jab. Just as that foot's hitting the ground, you're throwing.
Remember, just like usual, you don't bob up and down. You should go straight in. Since you are looking at the target's, your pal's top, your target, watch how the background rises and falls in relation. That'll tell you if you are bobbing. You're already focused there anyway.
All right. Good, Isabel. That's not bad. Think about that. Careful of throwing too much at nothing, guys, because I want you to hurt. So even if you just twitch your arm like it's supposed to. It's very good. Like it. All right, Sigrid, I want you to, on that step, I want you to throw. Bang. Yeah. Good, better. You should have to reset back twice. Because remember, we're only taking a step back. Talking about timing. All right. I don't want you guys throwing much more than 10 times a piece. Okay, we got a lot of sword drills here to do. Oh, look, Beth. Oh, she got a new boyfriend. Look at her hug. That's
His name Bob. That's Bob.
All right. See how that goes, Beth. Good.
Way better than hitting a gauntlet on a bookcase.
Yes, I agree. Abelard, did those feel okay? You're making sure you're keeping your front foot turned straight at your opponent, right? All right, good. Good. Bit too low. So don't throw down. I want you to throw out. So
He has to throw down because his shoulders are ahead of his hips. Your hips
Exactly.
need to be under you, Gattulio.
Yeah, you remember.
That's why it feels more comfortable to throw low.
Right. So jump and throw high. There you go. That's better. Now even throw at the other opponent's head. There you go. There we go. That's better. At his head. There. That is so much better.
Yeah.
Isabel, that feel okay? Are you doing? Yeah, good. Okay, I'm glad to see that. Hey, let's stand. You guys look pretty good. How's that feel? All right, awesome. You guys, for the first time out, man, you guys are kicking butt. You're looking really good. I'm not quite sure how long you guys have been doing it, but I totally look good. You got some real.
I got authorized at Winter War Maneuvers a year ago.
Well,
and then we didn't get to play.
Yeah.
I was about to get authorized and everything shut down. That's where we are.
You guys got fencing behind you or anything?
I'm authorized to fence, and I fenced all through high school and college, and I did martial arts growing up. Ksenia did dance.
I'm going to tell you, there is a lot of dance because you know how to control it.
That was my background.
That was her background too, and you actually know that the pelvic tilt and all of that, and how to keep your hip underneath you. So you're good at learning to stay stacked. So
Seto, get lower. Seto, standing up too much.
Nice, William. That's the way. All right, so we don't want too many of these. Okay, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna add a new one. All right, we're gonna add a new one for everybody.
Which one?
So this time we're gonna break out. Either way, which way you want to go? Which one's your more
Nice job, Sivrid.
All right, so we're gonna do that same jump again, that same 2 feet, but watch what happens this time. So she does a gather step to the right side. Well, yeah,
My sword side.
to her sword side. So
Really, it's to the side of my back.
so this will depend on which foot you have forward. If she
Sive, do just feet. Sive, do just the feet so people can see what's happening with your feet.
So here, we're gonna show it. Here we go. Jump, and then out. So she did that jab step forward, and then a gathering step. Now watch, I'm gonna have her switch her feet.
Here, and then here.
Right. Now, if you're fighting funny foot forwards, Bess, in this one, you're actually gonna do a cross foot. So you're gonna jab with her front foot, and then that rear foot goes across.
I'm less good at this.
All right? That's it. If you have a short space, just do it. Yeah, there you go. And then across. Now, here's the key. You remember when we were talking about pointing your feet? This becomes the very important piece, especially for the folks that have done circular drills around the pel yet. This becomes a very important piece of this exercise. Watch her foot real quick. She springs forward. Her feet are pointing at her opponent. When she starts swinging across, you can see her back foot comes out. Look how it turns to point at her opponent again. That way her hips are always. So make sure you're turning that foot as you're doing your gather step or your cross step. The difference we're doing here compared to SCA in most cases is we are learning to rotate around our opponent instead of past our opponents. Most of the times in the SCA, we go past our opponents because we keep our feet square. But you rotate around them.
So much.
I know.
Let's not do that again.
I'm just gonna take his arm off on the way. It's fine. Just crash right through it.
For people throwing this, the same thing. You have an opportunity for 2 shots here. The jab, and you can essentially throw a hook grab. Or if I switch my feet, there's the jab. Behind them, hook grab. Take your time doing this. We're not looking for fast, we're looking for good. Watch your feet. Make sure your hips are pointing toward your opponent. Or whatever way your body is normally pointing toward your opponent. Nice, Germanicus. I'm watching. I see you're working on those hips. Yes, exactly, Bess. That looks good. The leg work is really nice there. I'm watching your legs, Magrat.
Sivrid, do what I do when it gets awkward. Put the sword and shield aside for a moment until you get your feet right. You want that second step to be a gather, not a leap.
Magrat, you're looking good. That you got that mix. Yep, good. You're doing a nice job sinking it. Good. So your first shot is about make sure it's straight at your opponent. Don't throw the wrap. Yep, there you go. The other piece is, so I'm going to show you're holding your, so I don't want to change you too much, but you're holding your hand outside. So you're holding your hand outside, big. This is all open now. So if I was fighting side and I hold my hand too far outside, she can throw right down the center. So be careful of that. Also, by holding it out too far, your blade actually your opponent. So even when it's on my shoulder, I think of my blade oriented to my opponent. If I'm holding it outside my shoulder, I'm going to think a little bit about turning that in. So when I throw, I'm throwing at my opponent. If your hand is pointed away, you actually get a little bit of rotation when you throw. Your opponent. So I would like you to try this. I want you to take your hand and I want you to touch the basket. Shield. And then I want one basket difference. You can keep the same angle of your sword, but I want one basket distance. I'm going to take a look at you. Yeah, let's see it again. I want to see it. Yep, good. And then you're going to, yes, there you go. That's going to make it a lot tighter. Yes, and now you can actually throw forward. Do you see the difference? Now hold it outside now, like you usually do. Yeah, now jump and throw. How does that feel? Don't feel as good, right? Yeah. Do again, right on that shield. Yes. Bang. Yes. You see how that, as you're landing, you're just pushing that fist, like you're punching somebody right in the face. She's gonna talk for a second. She's working on it.
So I want to say thanks. I didn't realize how far out I was holding it. So yeah, thanks. That feels a lot better.
I think about it all the time. I literally, every time I stop, I think about touching my shield. And I it's a habit. And if you have to make it a habit, go ahead and do that.
Will do. Thank you.
No problem. That looked much better. Yes. So even for the people with the swords on their shoulders, the same thing is in place. We don't want that basket pointing away from people because then you get big rotation on the outside of your stick. Think about keeping that basket a little bit more inside. So even when I'm throwing this basket inside my shoulders, not this way. I'm not reaching out. I'm throwing it right straight to my opponent. Okay? So that becomes a big part. Actually, I think so Side's gonna go ahead. Side's gonna type back to somebody.
For you.
All right.
You should answer it out loud after we finish this.
So particular reason for doing double foot hop forward instead of passing step and rotating. So
because we're gonna do that one too.
Yeah, we're gonna do the passing step and rotate next.
We're learning different.
Right. See, no, that's a great. No, that was a great question. That was because you know what? All I ever did my whole career was the passing step. You know, I'm 30 plus years in, and I'm just adding the jab steps. I didn't realize there's so much more footwork to this game that we just didn't understand. And I've been teaching footwork for 30 years. So
how do you decide when to use which?
So the difference between the passing step and the jab step is usually distance. Now, distance can change. Also, it's how fluid. If the passing step tends to be a little more fluid, and we're going to get down. We got one more rotation on this, but I'm just going to cover this real quick. This is what they mean by the passing step. I hope you can say if it's something different. But here is, you remember that earlier when I taught you guys how to lean forward and then back? On the passing step, we're going to lean way over that front foot, and we're going to fall bang, and then we're going to go ahead and gather. Okay? So that's our passing step. So a passing step is very smooth. I can do this like, here I come, bam, right? It's smooth. It's very hard for your opponent to see. Also, in a passing step, I can literally be way back here. I am probably 10 foot from my opponent. All right, so give you a feel. Okay, so now the farther I lean over this, the farther I hold myself back, bam! Now I'm on my opponent. Right, so I can cover distance with a passing step. Where with a jab step, there's only so much distance I can cover, right? So here, I get probably what would be, if side came over, it's probably sword she doesn't have to go onto her outside arm. So here I got about 6 foot, I jump into a 4 foot range, and then I'm there. I get about 2 foot of jump. So that's the difference.
Get the bigger burst of energy.
Right. Also, this gives you a really hard burst of energy. Which,
you've got a real jumpy opponent.
Right. See, yeah,
that's gonna go.
Right, and side has that. She just, if you have a really jumpy opponent, that gets them into that freezing state. So here I am. Here's a passing step. Here I am almost out of frame. So now I'm falling forward. Bam. You can see how I close so fast, right? Compared to here I am in frame, and I can give her a little energy, and it's much faster because you're closing that distance with a jump.
Well, and it depends on what your opponent's going to do. If
Yeah.
you've got an opponent that's going to jump and run when you give that energy, go for the passing step. It's
Right.
a little more subtle. If you've got someone that just hunkers down, throw all that energy at them in one burst so that they hunker down.
And she actually nailed it on the head. That's one of the big differences. We're going to do the passing step next. So we're going to do the step, which is going to be the jab step with the fall to the left.
Yeah, just go the other way.
So we're going to go the other way. Here you see what feels, again, same thing goes. In this case, she's using a cross. Change that angle. Watch this thing. Cross foot. And cross foot. So if she changes her feet, now it's just going to be a gathering. All right. So go ahead, give me 10 of those, folks. Let's go. We're gonna do a couple of these, and then I know we're going probably 2 hours now. We're gonna go through the last couple of these, and then we're gonna do some TikTok, or the triangle step and the shuffle, the shuffle triangle step.
We're going to do some jumping corner to corner in a bunch of ways. Spend more time explaining, like, what do we do with this today? So
We have a lot of new folks, so.
yeah.
So here we are. Here we are.
Well, and again, we got to see how do we use this part instead of just.
I'm going to show how this step is used in a few minutes. Let's get those 10.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna let them we're gonna let them get their stuff in, and then we're gonna show a couple of things I want to show everyone.
That's
Just a quick comment, if you guys are striking a bell, if you could mute yourselves while you're not asking questions, that'll help out.
Tulio, can you show
Awesome,
us
thank you.
or explain to us? That's still a hop, not really what I meant, so we want to understand.
It's a passing step.
Right, do it again. So yeah, your back foot. So, you're doing a front foot step first?
Or you could do.
That's a pass. Yeah, that's our passing and then out. Yes.
Yeah.
So the difference on that passing one is you could actually make it larger.
Yeah, we're not saying don't do that. It's just a separate exercise from what we're doing.
Yep. We actually do that one next.
I suppose I can talk instead of just. Yeah, I was trying to ask the benefits of using the hop versus a step like that.
So here, let me show you And everybody's, if you're still working on them, I'm going to show you how some of these steps can work with side here. So first, I'm going to show with the jab step, when I would use a jab step. If I have an opponent, so if I have an opponent in front of me that tends to hunker down, like just Saib said earlier. In other words, when I give her some energy, she tends to see how she drops in her stance. She's not trying to get away. She's just becoming defensive. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make her feel comfortable by being farther away. And then I'm going to be here and then I'm going to burst. Right? I don't have to worry about her going away. I get a shot and then I bleed off and I'll throw a shot. So here, I'll show you to bleed off both ways. Here I am. Bam. Bam. Right to the inside leg.
Whereas if you do the passing step, I don't freeze
Well,
the same way.
whereas if I give her a jab here, if I give her some motion and she runs away, I don't have a jab anymore. Watch what happens if I just jab while she's a runner. I don't have anything. So it doesn't matter. I wouldn't want to do that against somebody that's running. Right? So if somebody's running, what I want to do is I'm going to give her and then I'll do passing steps so I can stay with her. So that's when we do those passing steps, is when somebody's retreating. So the other piece on this is we get 2 shots in here. So again, if they're leaving, it's you use a different step. So if I know she starts leaning back, as soon as I start leaning, she's going to go away. So I start leaning, and then I give a passing step, bang, and then I go. So that's when you would use a passing step. So if the guy's going to hunker down and I use a passing step, look what happens. Here I come. Now I'm way too close. And what's happening, even if I make it a short passing step, bang, she could be throwing that inside leg. Right? So I have to, where if there's no inside leg now in the jab step. So that's the reason. That's kind of the difference. She can't throw an inside leg when she's going backwards. In other words, here she's going backwards. It doesn't matter. She's losing range. But if I do a passing step and she times me, and I'll do this all the time, by the way, at practice. She times me. She's going to throw that inside leg just as I'm doing a passing step. Even worse, she's going to slide sideways and throw that inside leg. Right? Guys, it's rare we see people throw that sliding inside leg shot in the SCA.
Let's make it less rare.
We do it all the time. It's a beautiful shot.
People hate
It
it.
works though.
Right? All right.
Yay!
So hopefully you guys got a little bit from that. Watch those inside leg shots are really nice to have. All right, let's finish up those fall to the left. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a couple passing right and left. And we're going to make those fast because we explained them already. And then we're just going to do a couple of triangle steps. Yes. Grimmer, you're 100% watch that back when you're throwing those leg shots. You want to keep it as straight as possible and just squat. This is why we're learning those flat-footed squats a little bit. Right? There, good. And squat. There you go, right there. And then that's exactly it. You throw that hook even in those. That's not bad. You're looking much better on that drop. I really like it. All right, let's see it, Blue. Watching you. Don't disappoint us. Yes. Nice. Abelard, that looks good too. Yeah, that's the way, Blue. Yes. Be careful. Don't look at the top of that thing. Look like he has a head. Look at his head. Let's see, Bess.
Is that a bicycle that you're using as a Pel Blue?
Yes, it's a unicycle. You got it. Bess, I want that faster now. I know you can. Jab and go. Yes.
Julio, try and do a breakout to the other side now. With the same sword foot back.
Yes. Now make sure you're pointing that Pel. Make sure you turn that foot in. Yep, that back foot has to turn in as you're doing that gathering step. Bang, turn it in. There you go. Oh, now you see you're facing the Pel. That's better.
Sword back, you said?
Yeah, the last one that you did, you're breaking left. So your left-handed sword or right-handed sword?
Left.
Okay, so break to the right. So try to do, just for an example or something to try, sword foot back, do the same step forward, and then break to the right.
That's good. Corgan, you're looking awesome there. Those are both nice shots. Those look good.
Yes, that way.
Good work. I'm watching Athelstan now.
Concentrating on it, just great.
Good. I want to
Try to. Yeah. Now try to do a crossing step with your left foot behind your right, just to see what it's like. There you go. Without rotating your body. Try it again.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was it. That's a nice jab set, Grimmer. I really like it. Bess, that's a lot better. You're flowing much better now. Now stop looking at your feet. You know where they're going. All right. One last thing I'm going to show here before we do it. We're going to do the passing step. So one last thing I'm going to show. Go to the foot cam for a quick sec. We just talked to Grimmer about it, and this is a leg shot. All right, and I'm going to do it on the Pel. Actually, I'm going to do it on Side. Side, come over here, stand right in front. All right. So here's what I see a lot of people do when they throw. Let's see if I can get a better shot here. You know what?
Camera's there.
I'm going to throw my shield. Here we are. A lot of people, they essentially, sometimes they look at the leg. It's like, oh, the leg. Look how my body literally tilts down, and then I throw an angle. That angle starts from here to here. So the problem with this angle is it will glance down into knees very easily.
It's also really easy to block.
And it's also very easy to block because, again, she's doing a kind of a goaltender block here. Where compared to, if I just drop, you remember earlier we were just dropping into those exercises where we're warming up? Well, guess what we're doing now? I go for a leg shot, bang! Look, now I'm dropping, that elbow comes in, bang! So I'm gonna do it really slow. Here I am, look, my sword's here. My elbow starts coming in.
And I already moved my shield down to block.
So this is what it looks like right in front of you. See if this looks right. Here I am. I drop. So all right away, I'm going horizontal to the ground. Okay? Here I am. Bang. His elbow comes in, and then I'm pushing out. So I'm thinking about really pushing out. I'm really thinking about pushing out with this sword. Bang. But I'm pushing out in this way. Instead of this. Instead of this, or this, or this. Do I have center if I'm leaning over this way this much? I don't. I lose all that center. We were losing all that ability to move. So by here, I go bang, and I can move. Okay? So when you're throwing that leg shot, think about how you're throwing it. I'm giving you guys that's a throwing tip. The other piece is watch my feet here. Remember we were on our toes? Watch my back foot. See how that knee drops in and then allows my hip to come forward and deliver power into my opponent. If I don't let my foot turn, I'm literally putting, right now it hurts, because I'm putting stress on my ankle. And and my hip can't turn as much because I'm locked. Even when I'm up here, if I do this, I can't turn as much compared to, look how much more I turn. Just by allowing that back foot. And if you really get good, you allow the front foot to turn a little bit. Because we're on the balls of these feet. And I'm gonna free that hip to create power. All right? So
Can you do that the other foot?
what's that?
Can you do that with the other foot forward?
Sure. So I'm already forward. Now, if you're doing funny foot forward, you want to cock this hip a little bit. This is really Lucan kind of coined the funny foot forward thing pretty well. If I'm already turned sideways, I can't deliver power. So you always want to cock this down and back a little. And then what happens is same thing. You see how both my feet turn? If I don't turn them, then I'm not getting a kind of a back hip. And I'm pulling my blade away from my opponent. But if I turn them, especially if I'm throwing a rack, now I'm getting deeper. I'm going out forward because my hip is going forward and that power is delivering forward. Does that make sense? So you could do this on a Pel. Here I am. I turn my foot and I drop that sword. Turn that foot, drop the sword. Okay?
Who was it that was asking about that?
All right, so we're going to do a couple passing shots so you guys know what they are.
I don't know. First, whoever was asking to see the feet turning with the other foot forward, I'm going to recommend running and hop into the Magic Coach's Corner video database library thing and find some videos I just added from Sir Helgi, where he's doing his footwork fundamentals, and he talks about these things that he calls voltas, and it's literally just showing you how to take your feet and make them turn like that. So it kind of breaks it down to its most basics, and then you can work from there back into the full shot technique.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem. Here to help. All right, we're going to do a couple of passing techniques. These are going to be I want about 5 of these. We're going to kind of burn through these because we're running up on that 2.5 hours. So go ahead. So go ahead and get your normal foot. Again, you're just going to fall forward and throw. Now this is definitely a fall forward. This is not, I'm going to reach out and throw and step. Fall and go. So in this first one, just throw the falling step right into your opponent, and make sure that when you land in your opponent, that your back is straight. All right, you can't fall into your opponent.
Urge to do this.
Right. So Side's gonna show the wrong way to do this.
I'm gonna try.
She's gonna lead with her shoulders in this case. Bang, and now she's falling forward. Look how much lower her hand was to deliver the shot. You never get a high head shot this way. So by making sure your hips are under you, she falls, bang, and now look, her shield is still perfect. Her sword hits high up, and she's inside her opponent in good stance. She's not leaning into him like this where you can throw wraps. She's in here. She can drop, throw legs, do whatever she wants.
I end up having to sort of delay the timing on the shot just slightly because I'm a little further behind because I'm not leaning forward. But that's fine. You just delay throwing the shot by a millisecond or 3.
So Julio, get in your stance and then lean back, shift your weight all the way back until you're almost have no weight on the front foot. Right. Now from that shifted all the way back, don't raise your body at all. Just slide forward until your hips go over your front foot. And then take the step at the very end. Try not to lift the foot off the ground until your weight is shifted right over, your hips have shifted right over your front foot.
And again, this can be changed to a smaller step if you don't have room. And in fighting, you'll use this even the same way. That step may change depending on how fast your opponent's falling backwards. So I'm watching Athelstan. Let's see.
If you guys want to show those other shots that you were wanting feedback on, you can do that too.
Yeah, go ahead and let me see the other shots you guys are just showing. Okay, so we got Tensa, Ksenia.
Yep, keep your hips under you and your shoulders back a little bit so you're straight.
So, yeah, so, and go ahead and take the other step. Fall in.
And I'll do mine in the background over here.
So you guys are taking one step. I want you to go ahead and take the other step. Take two. So in other words, watch. I'm going to do it real slow. Here I am. Here's my step. You're doing this right now. So you're bringing this one and then doing it. Literally, I want this, bang, bang. And then bring it back. And stretch it out. Bring it back a little farther. Lean, bang, bang.
Yeah, that looked really good, Giulio.
Okay. So let me watch you guys. Good. On your first step, on that first step is when you're going to throw. Bang, and then step in. Yep. You lead with your shoulders there. So 2 steps. Make them short. There you go. All right. All right. No, okay, guys, watch me one more time. And I want you to put your shields down for this one. All right. So I'm going to do it without shield. Just so you can see it. Here I am. I'm going to go way far away. I want you guys to step back even farther if you have room. You're going to lean forward. Look, I can almost be off my back foot now. I fall, I catch myself with this foot, and then I gather back into my normal fighting stance.
Can you do the foot cam and then put it in the middle sideways? So just so we can see like the back arching and that shifting of weight over top of the.
Here we are, right? I'm shifting. Look at my balance is way over my foot now. I'm going to start falling, and then I'm going to catch myself right here, and then I'm going to get back into my stance. But look at my back through this whole thing. Here I am. You also notice that I'm not popping up and down. Here I am. Do it a little slower. Sorry. Here I am. Leaning, leaning, fall, catch, and then there. And again, I can make that step big or small. It doesn't matter. I can make this a tiny step. Here I am. See how that's a nice small step. Or I can make it huge. Watch. I'm going to get right on the edge of the film. And here I am. Now I'm on the other side.
Can you show how big you can lean?
Yeah, watch. So on the lean, here I am, here I am, here I am. And then I gotta go. This knee will actually start going towards the ground.
Yeah, it was like you can shift a large number of feet before you ever take the step, just going from your far back to your far forward.
If you look at my center, it's right over this line. Now watch where my center is. Where is my center? It's literally past the next line before I go. So but you notice my back is always stacked. It's always straight. It has to be, otherwise I can't throw a high head shot and my shield starts degrading if I tilt. So I'm going to throw it one more time. Here I am. It is not this. See, I'm not straight anymore. I'm falling. And literally, I'm leaning into my opponent now. That is not it. I'm literally pushing this almost at his belt buckle. Pushing my belt buckle at his belt buckle. Bang. Okay. I'm hoping that helps. Let me see what you guys are doing. Eighth standing.
Blue, when you're moving around, it looks like I like how you're moving. Your hips and shoulders are going with you, but it feels like your focus is on your feet. Maybe being lower and strong instead of steering around with your hips and torso. See how you're in a much better position. You can throw higher shots and you actually have much better balance then.
Yeah, I think I'm fighting a little bit, trying to think about being on the balls of my feet instead of letting my hips drive and then drop into it.
What helps me is to imagine them as one thing. So mentally put your hips on your balls of your feet. So yep, how's that feel?
Yes, perfect. That's the way to help them. That's exactly what we're talking about. Athelstan, both you guys, that is much, yes, that's the way. Much better. You can feel yourself fall right in and then be in defense. Yep. Good. Very nice. Sivrid, that looks good, man. You're getting some range. Very nice. All right. So you guys should all have this now. Now I want that breakout to the right. So same thing we did on the jab step, but now we're going to do it on the falling step. This one gets a little more different because what's going to happen is, you know what? I'm going to throw these away. Here I am. I'm going to fall in, bang, my shot, and then this is going to be a crossing. And I'm here. Okay? So this is going to be a crossing step because we switch feet halfway through this. Bang, crossing step. So if I switch feet to funny foot, it's going to be a gathering step. Here I am, fall in on the left, hit, gather. Remember, turn your feet. We're gathering around our opponent.
You can also complete that second step and then go from there.
Yes. Or if you literally, as Saib said, if you feel more comfortable doing this, you can fall in, hit, complete the second step, and then go ahead and do your gathering step. It doesn't matter. One way is a little faster in the beat, but it depends on how you're feeling about adding those two steps together.
It's like experiment with all of them and find the one or ones that actually work for you, that your body's like, yes, I can do this.
Or if you learn them, switch them up in a fight.
Yeah.
That too.
Get less predictable.
The more you can throw everybody off.
So when you do that, like falling step in, can you like as you hit, just take that energy and go on the turn?
Yes.
Yeah.
You just make sure you finish the energy and then proceed to the turn. A lot of times I'll see people, they'll start this and they'll hit and they'll start their energy sideways. Well, if you're already leaning sideways, you're taking your energy away from your opponent. So make sure, bang, and then shift. So make sure you're always driving towards your opponent to finish your energy right.
When you do this in application, when you hit someone and you feel like it was a great shot and they're like, nah, it was too light, that's the first thing you should look at. Where were you when you actually hit him? I bet money you were not in stance on impact. It's your fault it was light.
Exactly.
Can you show them the buddy up one?
Mm-hmm.
So just always make sure you're not breaking your structure.
Buddy up one?
So I think what Louis is talking about on the buddy up one is make sure, I'm going to pull him forward a little bit so you guys, no, you can see it in the.
We can see him.
Okay. There we go. So here I am. A lot of times when you're doing a really long fall in shot, this is that piece where people think I'm teleporting. I'm not teleporting. I am just not showing them any, what do I always call it? I'm not changing the line of perception.
There's no tell.
There is no, right. My eyes and head are coming at him at the same time. I am not lifting. As soon as you lift a foot, perception picks that up very fast. As soon as the sword goes outside, perception picks that up. As soon as I pop up and down, perception can pick that up. But if everything's coming at my opponent, okay, it all comes straight at him. It's like being on a railroad track where your perception is very hard because it's not changing. So it's difficult for your opponent to see. What Louis is talking about, the buddying up, is here I come, I fall in. I am super close. I hit, and then I'm right in here. I drop in this stance nice and low so I can start cutting legs, right? But make sure when you fall in here, you know, if I'm here, that I'm underneath him. I almost kick my hips a little forward so I can clear my sword a little. Okay? But this underneath somebody, they're going to want to lean over you, and that actually puts them in a poor place. All right. You want to finish your...
Yeah, I haven't done any of the side.
All right,
yet.
so she's going to finish her 5 and 5.
I gotta put my gloves back.
And then we're gonna do the triangle steps, and then we'll wrap it up.
Maybe next week we'll run through ladder stuff a little faster.
Yeah, next week we may skip a couple pieces of ladder and run through these drills a little bit more and add more ideas on throwing and working against the people with these feet. All right, and we're going to add a little bit more help with what you can do with a pair of people once you get to a point where you can have 2 people, because as people get shots, you're able to do that. We're gonna.
Well, and as we've seen, some people already have a buddy or 2.
Yeah, and as we see in some of our pictures, people have a buddy or 2, a family or whatever. But we're gonna show some pad drill stuff to work on, and that way you can have some ideas when you go back to practice what other things you could work on at practice.
This one gets me every time.
Yeah.
That cross foot without landing and.
Yep. All you have to do is make sure you just dig into that front foot and then spin
do it
it.
without the
I know.
leading.
I know. That's the hard part on that cross foot.
And I'm too close and just all the things. So many things.
Yeah, you're still probably too close.
Oh no, I mean when I end.
Oh, when you end,
I'm
yeah.
starting closer so I can take a smaller step
Okay.
and not be
You
falling
want-
over anyway.
Okay.
It's like so I can get here and not be already
Yes.
halfway falling
Already
over.
too close, yeah.
That arm.
All right, we're going to give you guys a couple more minutes to finish both right and left.
So focused on the follow up, I'm losing the shot.
Yeah. Good. That was a little better. Yeah, really think about sinking that shot. So the follow up will happen.
That one I can do.
I know that one you can
Good
do.
old gather steps.
Gotta love them gather steps. They're so easy.
You're not easy. I had to work very hard for those.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you very much.
And now you love me.
I do. It's true.
Go ahead and throw both of them since you know this one you can do easy. Good. Nice.
Oh, we got a question. Ron already answered it, but it's worth saying out loud.
All right, so we had a question. How do you feel about hitting the back of the blade as you fall off to the side? Absolutely. Especially off to the right or off to your sword side. That should be a back blade shot. So, I see Ronvalder answered it too, so.
Yeah, but it's worth sharing with the class and
Yeah.
with Facebook.
And it doesn't have to be a back blade shot. It can be can still be a chopping shot, but it depends on, you got a lot more opportunity to hit their shield. So,
But yes, wraps.
yes, nothing wrong with wraps. Just don't throw them all day long. Because you'll blow up your shoulders
Or elbows.
or elbows.
Ask me how I know.
All right, I'm just watching people finish wrapping up some stuff. Siebert, I'm guessing those were just kind of lazy shots, right?
I was trying to figure out what would happen if I tried crossing front instead of back, and it doesn't work very well.
No problem. Corrigan, how's that feel?
Felt all right. I just had to stop. My back's flaring up.
Okay, no, that's perfectly fine. That's one thing I try to make sure everybody knows.
Excellent decision.
Is make good decisions for your body. I'd rather have you next week than have you for 1 week.
I'd have you blow out, be out for a month.
And that same thing goes. This is a long practice for a lot of people. A lot of people don't put this much work in and out of practice. So all you guys be proud of yourself. There's a lot of work going on here.
We're just gluttons for punishment.
Yeah, and we're just so especially the first few times, work at a pace that you can make it through. Abelard, duck your head. Don't look at what you're hitting. You should be looking at your face still.
Finally got one.
Did you?
It only took 5 tries.
Yeah, a little bit less butt out when on that leg shot. Yes, just drop straight. Yeah, there you go. Watching your Germanics. Good. I'm glad you're still using both your swords.
Yeah, I ended up dropping the shield early because I got my shot on Friday and my arm's still sore. So.
Hey, lucky you.
I'm not complaining about getting the shot. I just it makes it hard to use the shield.
Yes, it does. So a lot of this is really just learning to be comfortable in our feet, as you guys can tell. Right? And being comfortable that your feet are going to catch your center, and the more comfortable you get with that, the better that you're standing up. I mean, like Germanicus, who's on video right now, he's doing a much better job than before, just keeping his back nice and straight. And now he can deliver lots of stuff because his body's stacked and he's using his feet. And, like right now, Grimmer's working on some different things. And I can see he's just working on some bastard sword things. And that's a good point, Grimmer. You're kind of showing people is that footwork isn't just for sword and shield. Footwork is for everything. This could be pole arm. This could be two-handed sword. Your footwork, range, and control of your opponent works for everything that you do. So I really like you working on this. Yeah, there's your strike, and then you change directions. Yeah, there you go. So you can use all of this inside those things. All right, guys? All right, last ones. So we're going to do, these are very simple steps here. And in fact, go ahead, top down. We're going to shoot a view of this so you can see the difference. So we're going to do what is the triangle step. Okay? And this is fundamental triangle step out of fencing or a HEMA or any of those. And all you're doing is a drop step, bang, across the ladder, and then back. You're switching your feet. So it's drop, back, lean, drop, back. Lean, drop, back. Lean, drop, back. You will notice that you get a little forward. In other words, you're going a little in and then a little out. That is part of this drop step.
Due to the magic of geometry,
okay,
the range will drift in and out.
Exactly. So this is the drop step across your opponent. What you're doing here is you're changing angles. I can throw a wrap, I can throw an offside. I can throw a wrap, I can throw an offside. Bang. Right?
You can throw as you're cutting across the middle. If you're doing this from further and that's your close spot now. Whatever.
So watch as Sibes throws these. She's going to go ahead and this is a gather step. Bang. So she's falling and jumping into that space. There we go. And here is where you can throw wraps. You can throw cutting shots. You can throw inside lines.
Like my wraps aren't the greatest example right now.
All right. So that's just a simple triangle step, right? Here we are.
Wraps are really out of practice.
Again, though, the key on this one is that your hips are always facing the pel. We don't want this. I step here, my foot is facing over here. Now I'm not facing pel anymore. I got to turn that foot in when I cross over here. Turn foot, facing the pel. Turn the foot, face the bell. Okay? All right, let's get about 5 of those in. And then we're going to add one last one, and then we're going to wrap it up with a little bit of talk. And no problem. I'll get out of the way.
I'm worried I was
Yeah.
pulling it too wide.
I gotta get out of here. Take care.
Who's this?
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, Seto.
Hopefully you enjoyed yourself.
It was fun. It was awesome. I needed it.
Yeah, it makes you really think about your feet, don't it?
Yes. Oh, so much.
Good. So this is one that you can really practice fast against your opponents as well. So if I'm fighting side while she's tired, this works much better. I'm going to show you what happens if you're fighting a live opponent. Yep. All right. Here I am. I'm facing her. She's going to go ahead and take her first gather step, and I'm going to turn. I'm behind her half a beat now. So she's catching me turning, and then she's going to step back to the other side. Okay? So what's happening is with an opponent that just turns in their space, so there's 2 ways an opponent can turn here. One is they just follow them with their upper body. This is a hard thing for an opponent. They can turn back faster, but if you take a big step over, they can't turn as far because what happens is your shield can only go so far when your foot is still pointing forward. The other opponent actually turns his feet with the opponent. But she's leading, all right? She's leading, so it's hard for me to know I'm following. She gets the opportunity to make the strike. All right? So that's how that fits inside of a fight. Good part is you're always offline. You're going from one corner to the next corner. Okay? In a real fight, here I go. She's all tired. I'm making her work hard. I'm in here. I'm fighting. And then she goes ahead and cuts that angle off and then goes back the other way real fast. There I am, right? So
get into one of the bigger ones to go further around and break the pattern.
Exactly. So that's kind of the idea of those, is that we're pushing those corners of our opponent. All right, we're going to show you the last one. All right, change the video.
I'm pushing your corner.
She's pushing my corner. She's pushing my nerves.
I mean that too. But isn't that like part of the requirement when you're a squire?
Yes.
Like that was in my contract.
All right, so the next one is going to be, we're going to do it. She's going to move the pal out and turn it so you can see this step. Yeah, right there. That looks pretty good. I'm going to get out of her way. All right. Now we're going to do essentially the shuffle.
Shuffle triangle.
This is the shuffle triangle. The difference is, again, you guys know the difference between a gather and a shuffle. You bring your feet together.
Go back apart.
Okay, so what's happening in this shuffle, you notice her feet are almost both come up at the same time, and she actually gets a little bit more distance. She also stays a little farther away. If you notice, she's staying a little farther away from her opponent in those. Go ahead and change it.
Now my range is coming a little away and back in instead of in and back out.
Right, change to the top, and then you go. So here we're going to change to the overhead so you can see how this looks on the overhead.
I accidentally turned the video off.
All right, so she's going to do this on the overhead again. So here we are. She shuffles to either side. And you can kind of see she doesn't really get close to her opponent. She's just shuffling from one corner to the other. Her feet are actually mostly trying to switch feet, but a lot of times they just end up even. But that's okay. So the
Can you
big
do it
part
without the sword and shield so we can see the toes?
Yep. So here we are with the toes. Again, you got to point, right? You got to point the toes. See how the toes are pointed? Pointed toes.
if you really want to get across, this is one where you can go ahead and add some cross step in.
Yep.
So Getulio, think when you're on the right-hand side that you're on a 45 facing your opponent on their 45. And when you get to the left side, you're going to face them on that 45. So you're almost turning 90 degrees.
Here, we'll put him.
The foot in the middle that's in front is going to be farther away, and your other foot is going to be closer. And you're going to switch stance.
Like I'm trying to go from like this piece over here to this over here.
So watch. I'm gonna make her do just the regular. So she's gonna do the triangle step for a sec first. Go ahead. Not the triangle. You can see she's stepping on the lines pretty much as her distance.
Yeah, actually, we can see this better with the foot cam if you can spotlight that one.
Yeah.
You don't need to move anything.
Beautiful.
There we go. So that's a regular triangle, the gathering triangle we just did. So now watch, she's gonna do the shuffle. So that foot comes in, almost taps the other foot.
You'll note I'm getting farther.
And you notice now she's not way over those lines.
So what changes here between the regular triangle step and the shuffle one is on the regular triangle step, the inside foot goes first. On the shuffle one, the outside foot goes first.
Right. Exactly.
Regular triangle, yeah. Inside foot steps out and my legs go apart and then back together. Instead, we're bringing them together and then back apart.
Much better, Getulio. I think you got it now.
Awesome. Take a look at everybody else, see how they're doing.
Are you switching feet when you're going on the shuffle?
Yes.
Yes.
You could try. I'm going to tell you, a lot of times you just end up pretty square.
Yeah, square.
You can use this both side to side, or you can do this rotationally around your opponent.
Yeah, we're trying to get around, switch the feet, and get as much angle as possible. It's still valid and useful if you don't quite get that far.
One last step, Grimmer. Think of it as do the triangle first where the inside foot goes. Because that one you can just step. Yes. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now do the exact same thing, but instead of stepping with the inside foot, step with the outside foot first. And you're gonna have to skip a little bit. Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Turn your hip. Get to Lubo.
That looks way better.
There, you got it. That nice turn on the hip. Now you're gathering. Shuffle. There you go. Good part about a shuffle is you will get an extra 6 inches or so. You can see when Side does this, she's literally covering all the way across both of those triangles now. When she's doing a regular gathering one, she's on each triangle.
Yeah. It's like I can try to get forward, but it gets real
hard,
wonky, and I start leaning forward to counterbalance, so it's not great.
Right? So if you shuffle, it's easy to get that extra range, which means you're going around your opponent even farther. So in a top-down view, throw the top-down view for a sec. I'm going to show you in a top-down view, if I just do the triangle step and throw a wrap, here I am, triangle step, throw a wrap. You notice my basket is about where his shoulder is, okay? Now I'm going to do a shuffle step. Here I am. Now my basket's way behind his back and almost hitting the other side of the body. So that's why maybe you do a gathering step once and the guy just makes the block. Next time you do a shuffle step and you're way behind the block.
Oh, yeah.
So for a shield,
this is where I play the break the pattern game.
This is where we play the break the pattern game. That's another thing.
Doing a little one. Doing a little one.
Yeah.
Doing a really big one.
So here against a shield person, this would kind of give you that feel. So I might be over here for a second, then I transfer over here. You notice it's way back here. So if I just do a triangle step, here I am in front of her. I do a small triangle, another triangle. She's easily blocking it without moving her feet. But if I'm over here and I do this shuffle, I'm so far behind, she has to really turn.
I did the same block.
Right. So that's why you can see I'm way behind her, literally hitting the other side of her body. That's why that shuffle. Now, if I really want to get something big, I can make this a sweeping front foot, a crossover step. So I give her some power over here. And then I'm way over here. Let's do that again. I'm falling a little bit. So here I am. I give her some power on that elbow. Sweep. And I'm way over here. Right? So you can see between the gather, the shuffle, and the crossover step, how much more range you can get on people. We never think about these steps, right? Most of the time we're thinking about a gathering step. But now we have an understanding that we can get more out of different steps that we use. The hard part is integrating these steps into our fighting. Put it on screen.
Put what on screen?
Just us, yeah, we'll back up. So the hard part is integrating this into all of our fighting. So we have to integrate this, we practice. We get good technique. But then you find a partner or you find somebody that's a little lower or even with you at practice, and you work that long jab step in the back. Long jab step, fall off to the side. You work those, right? Don't care if they hit you. There's no winning practice. Nobody wins practice. Practice is for getting opportunities to figure out what you can do more effectively. I may jab step and they hit me. I'm like, oh, I better stop dropping my shield on that jab step, right? Or I may jab step and they go backwards. I'm like, well, that was stupid. I should have known he was going to go backwards. I need to freeze him first. So I might just go, hey, just drop a little, put pressure on them. If they fall back, then I'm not going to do nothing, or maybe I do a passing step. But if they put tension in without moving, then I jump into it, bang, right? So that little hesitation on the front allows you to figure out what you get to use. Before, that little hesitation, that fake, allowed you to figure out what you want to throw. We didn't really think about feet. We thought, oh, well, if I freeze them and I get a little closer, I'm going to hit him with my sword. But now we get to think about, if I freeze him, he's falling away, I'm going to do a long passing step, like a long jab. Or I freeze him, they squat a little bit in tension, now I'm like, jab in, bang, and then I'm shift, bang, and throw a right. Right? We have to build that into our practice. We have to build that thought cycle into what you're doing. The more you build it, the more it becomes ingrained what works, what doesn't work. And that's how we become better fighters. I can tell you, Ron Valder, you've been fighting for how many years now?
2.
Yeah.
Too many.
Too many.
Yeah, I authorized in 1990, so 31.
Okay. All right. So we're going to keep chatting a little. You guys stay here on Zoom. We're going to wrap up on Facebook real quick. But everybody on Facebook, you want to join us, go ahead. Just ask us. We'll send you out a Zoom. All we expect is you to work hard with us and practice hard. But thanks for looking if you're on Facebook. Hopefully you got something out of it. Thank you very much. We will talk soon.
Bye, Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.